What is up, guys? Happy Friday Night Flicks. Hope everybody's having a fantastic evening. What is up, Crispy Critter? Channel member, brand new American channel member. Got Garner Ryan here. Guys, you guys are just loyal. I appreciate you being here more than you know. Brand new American channel member. He was here earlier. I don't know if he's here right now, but he'll be back. I'm about to bring up Brother Steve, Scotching Things, and just kind of talk about whatever's on your guys' mind. There was something I was going to ask you guys about. Said Stevie, what is up, channel member? Good to see you, bud. Yeah, one thing I was going to tell you guys about is, or ask you guys about, tell you kind of what I'm thinking is every Friday night during Friday Night Flicks, I find something that I kind of pay forward. And I've been struggling because I've been doing some content that I do every weekend that I love doing, and I do some members only emojis and things like that. But I'm trying to think of a way to make sure, because I'm kind of getting, as I work through the knives that I give away, they're getting nicer and nicer. D Metal channel member, what's up? And I'm trying to find a balance and to figure out how to make sure that I take care of the channel members and give them opportunities to win some stuff too. So I don't want to have necessarily members only live streams because they're not enough of them there to be available probably. But at the same time, I know there's a way that I can figure it out. Tactical Terry, what is up? Where I can kind of do that for them. But anyway, just something I'm thinking about. Stephen Wallace, how are you, brother? Welcome. I'm just trying to figure out ways to evolve the channel to make the channel better. Forrest SLR, my man, the myth, the legend. Forrest Hanks, guys. You send a graphic, he can design it for you. But so that's all I had on my mind, and I want you guys to talk about it. Tell me what you think. I've got a cool knife that I'm gonna put up at the end of the night, but I never want that to be a reason. You'll never see it in my thumbnail. You'll never see it in my titles. I don't want to draw people. I just want to kind of pay forward the people that are here that that support me, and you guys all do. Steve Copperlight, Steve, what is up? So first, I'm gonna bring up Brother Steve Scotch and Things because he was here first. And then right behind
What is up,
him,
guys?
hey, buddy. I didn't even ask if everybody could hear me all right. I'm going to bring up Crotch Goblin. How are you, Crotch Goblin?
That's a great one. That's a great one.
I do. I love it. I love it.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
he's
I'm
typing.
Professional.
that's awesome. Sorry, that just hit me right at the. That was great.
That is a good one.
You
So
need
how
to
are you
change
guys
everything to
doing?
that. Good.
Everybody have a good week. I was wondering if you got any work done, Steve. If the wind cooperated with you. It was windy here yesterday.
It played just right, and then we didn't work today because it was raining and chances of storms, and so took today off.
Nothing wrong with that. Much budget guy, what's up? Go ahead, buddy. I won't cut you off. All I do is shout at people when they come in to welcome them. That's my squirrel brain.
Real quick, I had sent a couple knives off to Kyle Coonley. One is out there, some work knives that got dulled just from work stuff. They go pretty quick. That heavy, thick, like plastic banding. God, that's just murder on an edge. But he killed it, man. They're just.
Were you impressed? I've got a chickadee on me today, but it's not the one that he sharpened. And the one he sharpened is, and I don't want to say chef's kiss, but it is definitely a chef's kiss. Little job on that small little blade that you can really appreciate by looking at it. It's so small.
Here's two SNGs. All right. One, so right here, this is one that Sean from Blades and Bades did for me. And
He's great.
he did,
I love Sean.
This thing is just scary sharp. He did an SMF for me too, and my buddy's got it right now borrowing. He's like, my God, this thing it's scary. And I just asked Kyle, like, these two, the two I sent him, I use at work, so they get kind of beat on, and I didn't need like this super fancy, I'm so worried that I can, just do this to telephone paper or phone book paper. I needed something that's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, toothy and durable. So it's still very sharp. It's sharper than it was. And yeah, he did an excellent job, better than I can do. So
Yeah, he's those guys that freehand that stuff are just to be honest with you, I'm starting to freehand all my little slip joints. I've noticed like with my Bokers, I think it's just a weird thing that they don't even really come with an edge on them. A little bit of an edge, but they're not sharp at all. The ones I've experienced are not sharp at all. So the first one I put on my fixed angle system, and Kyle convinced me or told me that I needed to have a fillet holder for it, a different type of way to put it in the fixed system. Well, I've racked my brain over that, and I can't see how that would affect the angle. I think I just sharpened it wrong, and I think those little knives are meant to have a higher angle because of geometry. They're so thin. So I've started using them. What's up, Brant? Hendra Collector? So I've started using my Feel Sharp work sharpener. You know, the little small one that's like a inch wide.
yeah, I've got one of those.
They're the greatest sharpening systems. It was my first system that I had. And again, I wouldn't recommend it for your nicest knives, but for my slip joints, they're helping me learn to hold an angle. And I've gotten those things super, super sharp without changing the look of the blade. That's what I did on the first one I sharpened on my TS Prof is I just ran it like I would a normal knife where I should have just kind of done it a lot more cautiously, right? That was my learning experience. But in either case.
Yeah, he changed the bevel a little bit on this one compared to, like, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, like the factor.
Oh, I'm sure Sean laid it back, didn't he?
This one was Kyle. Sean did lay it back. This thing is just, I mean, it's like a freaking mirror. And it is, but no, they work. I mean, I used one yesterday. I opened them up Thursday, opened them up. I used it yesterday at work.
Nice.
Once. And yeah, so yeah, Dave sent, I've got the work sharp. Dave sent me
Man, I'll hit you one later.
That I'm still kind of tinkering with. I just don't have the patience. Like I want to do it. I want to get better at sharpening so I can do my own. But man, I can put a decent working edge on like a work knife, but I don't trust myself with an expensive knife. It's just easier for me to send it off, and God, Kyle's prices are cheap.
I can see that with the compound grinds, but if you're anything like me, and you might not be because you work outside every day, you're working hard, where I'm having to work kind of with my head, and it's frustrating work, and it's just, it's a different kind of jam. But for me, when I got the TS Prof, which at the time seemed like a lot, but it was less expensive than a Hendra, and I use it every other day probably because to me it's so therapeutic and it's so foolproof. Once you watch a couple of Jared's or somebody's videos, it's just a repetitive, soft, the weight of the stone type of motion you work through. I got a set of Veneve stones, not a set, but I think it's 4, maybe 5 4-inch. I didn't even get the 6-inch, which it'll hold because the 4-inch were less expensive, but I got them from a place called Gridomatic. And dude, for me, it is therapeutic. I sharpen knives that don't need sharpening.
It probably would, because I like cleaning. I love taking a knife apart to clean it, or like a weapon, like that. To me, like it's therapy. But like to sit there, like I'm impatient. I know it's going to take, like on something like 3V, I know I'm going to have to work at it, and it's going to take me some time.
You'd be very surprised, and reach out to and ask that question, or I'll put him in touch with you, Jared, because I think you'll find. If you just buy, which I did, an Atomi 140 diamond plate, which is the grittiest diamond plate that Atomi makes. It's a little 4-inch steel plate where the rest of my Veneve graduation of stones, and I could really, on a lot of knives, I'll start with my Veneve 80, which is the equivalent of probably a similar grip. But since it's a straight diamond plate, it works through steel very, very quickly. if you want
Hmm.
to, right? So I've learned that if I'm sharpening something super hard, you get the edge and you get everything set with that first stone, right? You work your burr, you get your other burr, and then after that, it's really a low key experience. Because again, to me, it's zen like, but for not everybody, hand sharpening's a different game because trying to hold the angle, and I can't do that consistently.
I'm bummed. So there was a local knife store to me, which was like an hour and 40 minutes away. But it was nice to a place that you could walk in and see a knife. It was the first place I bought my first Chris Reeve. I bought my first Enderer, where you could go in and touch these, you know, things that you only saw on the internet. And he had just gotten in all the TS Prof stuff and all the gunny stuff. But he was really big into hand sharpening. And I talked to him about he was going to start offering classes and going in, and then he had cancer and passed away this last year, which was a real bummer. But he had a real passion for sharpening and wanted to like do classes so you could actually be there with someone and he, kind of walk you through the steps.
Man,
So
I have hats off for people not just that have the passion, but have the passion for teaching. And
yeah.
I'm not trying to shill at all here, but if you like sharpening, Jared has memberships on his channel, and every Sunday, and I watch it, and don't do hand sharpening, but he and Kara do a hand sharpening, like a training class for a couple hours on Sunday where they sharpen live and talk about the people that are in there, ask questions, but he'll be sharpening a knife the whole time. And it'll be a
Hmm.
different knife, a different technique, but they're all hand techniques. I think one time he did that new work sharp, but it's really cool, man. I mean,
It's crazy. Like Kyle was like, and the difference was like his prices were great. I mean, like they just needed better edges. Like I said, I doled him at work by cutting heavy plastic banding and prying with them and doing stupid shit, cutting and banging up against metal. But they didn't need any rework. Like I'd sent Sean a couple basket case knives that the tip was gone, the grinds were horrific, like they'd been abused and sharpened badly for years. And they both did exceptional. And Kyle sends you an invoice with, what angle each knife is sharpened at for future, in case I want to do it in the future and keep whatever angle he's kept. And yeah. So if anybody sucks at sharpening like me, both of those guys, I can't say enough good things about. So
I'm sure that you said Steve's the other guy.
no, Blades and Fades.
Oh,
Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Sean. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can speak, and I've not had one of Sean's knives, but I know him very well, and he is. I love his videos. I mean, he gets stuff hair splitting sharp, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
got one of Kyle's knives, so I can absolutely vouch for his abilities.
Yeah.
I'm just real weird about, and I guess if I had the right knife, and I don't have anything that has a lot of compound grinds or a lot of recurves, I would send it off. But for me, it was worth with a system learning how to do it, not great, but
Hmm.
well enough to where it looks good and it cuts good instead of sending knives out, right? It's not that I don't
Yeah.
want to pay to have somebody sharpen it. If there was somebody in town, like if Dark Gravity came to me and said, John, I've always had a passion for sharpening knives. Do you, Dark Gravity?
No.
Okay. See, he hasn't, but if he did, if there was somebody local, and there is actually somebody local, um, I follow him on Instagram. He's an amazing sharpener. Anyway, I'm not even going to let my squirrel brain go there. But, and that would make me feel like I was cheating on Kyle or cheating on Jared or his books are closed or
I
cheating on Sean.
I
But,
felt bad, I do Sean, and I felt bad. Like I said I was going to send some to Kyle because I kind of wanted to see the two different, But I felt I had such, Sean, like great guy, and I had great results. But I know he's busy too. But I kind of wanted to see a second one because, like, I'm not, like I said, not a sharpening expert, so I kind of wanted to see both worlds.
and I will say there's nothing to compare to a professionally sharpened edge. Because when I look at that little chickadee that I've used a bunch, and it's Magna Cut, but he did such a good job. It's nothing that I could touch, even going through all my beneath stones. And I've learned that if I stop at about a 600 to 800 equivalent grit, I'm fine because it's a working edge that I'm looking for. I'm not shaving my arm. I'm not whittling hair. I'm cutting open boxes, right? Usually.
Yeah. That's why it's like I'm kind of late. Like I've got so many knives in my EDC life, like my non-work life. The knives stay sharp forever because I'm just cutting open packages and strings off my kids' clothes, and they're not going. A lot of these knives don't go to work with me, so the edges last for freaking ever. So that's why it's kind of been like a lazy kind of one toe into the to learning to do it myself. Because
Right.
before I just my little work sharp, man, I would just and just get it good enough. I'd get the just so I could go back to work and just beat the crap out of it again. So, but it is something I told myself I was going to learn since Dave was kind enough to send me the KME, and it's baby steps. It's definitely baby steps.
Right. There's a fine line between frustration and anticipation, not really wanting to do it and really enjoying it. I can remember that because I started with the little field sharp, because I've done all this in the last 2.5 years. I've jumped off deep into this hole, but I started with a field sharp because I'd seen a video on it and it set the angles, the little field sharpener. And then I graduated to the Spyderco system, which I really still like, especially for recurves. It's the one that has the 2 rods that stick up at a V. You know the one I'm talking about, that has a little clamshell case. And then I ordered the optional diamond rods and the extra fine, which I didn't need. But again, just to try to learn that system. And from there, I went to the work sharp, which is still a great system. And the best thing I did for my work sharp was, at Jared's urging and me, he did it on videos, but me going and finding it on Gritomatic, is that little stone holder. They make a stone holder for that work sharp.
So a couple things. You said your first little work sharpener. So, I mean, we're talking 10 years ago now. Like my sharpener I went to Cabela's and bought even before is it Lansky? Do they have a sharpening system, or were they known
Lansky,
for sharpening?
they were the first fixed angle system. So they were the first one that was fixed angle.
So I bought one of these little, I still have it. I have it in my job trailer just in case, but it was like this little thing, and it's got the course that you could pull the knife through, and then the ceramic that you pull the knife through, and then it's got the little rod that comes out if you have serrations. I mean, that's how I sharpen my work knives. Guys are going to cringe, but I mean, for a long time, and it worked fairly well. Like, I mean, back then it wasn't, it was like VG10 steel and didn't care, but I was just like, every Sunday night before I'd go back out for the week, I'd be like, and
just
that's what I
grinding the
used for a
steel
long
off
time.
of it. Yeah, I think we all did. I think the brand I had was a little yellow Smith or orange.
Maybe that is Smith. Yeah, I got it at Cabela's. It was like $10, along with my $10 knives that I was, it didn't matter. But the new work sharp system that's out? Yeah, that looks pretty sweet.
It does. I watched Jared's video on it. It's the only thing that I didn't see there, and I haven't watched any of his deep dive videos on it, but it comes with a nice set of stones. I'm sure they're going to sell replacement stones. It is a $300 system, and I'm sure somebody else will probably come up with an arm for it, but it seems like they could have easily come up with a system that held their stones that would also hold other stones. Their stones now, it's a magnetic system, which is real handy. And I think, like, even he says, for 99% of the knives, it'll do fine. I mean, they upgraded the materials. They made it much more stable. They gave you many more grits. They took into account that front little arm wobbled some, so they built a perfectly sized little wedge to go in there
Yeah.
instead of the. So I think it's a straight up system. But if I'm understanding right, it's about $300.
Yeah.
D-Man, come back in stock, buddy. I remember the first Precision for the first 2 or 3 weeks would always be sold out because I was trying to grab one, and then about 3 weeks.
Excuse me.
Bless you. You could find
Yeah,
them,
sorry.
so it'll be available again.
Gosh, sorry,
Bless
guys.
you, buddy.
Yeah, like I just want to get to a point where I can sharpen, just a regular blade, and then if it's some crazy compound, like I've got no problem. I'll send this back into Strider, have them do their voodoo on it. I'll probably never get to the point where I'm comfortable touching like a compound grind or a custom knife.
Bandito. But some guys, Kyle, Jared, Sean, those guys can do it. But I think they see angles different. I think there's something to seeing and feeling an angle. Because I can tell when I'm even on you can feel it on a fixed system, and I can feel it on my Feel Sharp with my slick joints, is you can tell when you're on the right angle. But you can also tell when you're off, but there's not much that you can do different between being right on for me and then hitting it a couple of times and being off, so
it would be hard. I don't know, for me, like sending in like a custom or something, like one, it's going to take a while my other compound needs some work done on it because I nicked the tip off of it. But one, it's hard to send this knife out to someone because what if something did happen? Like, what if
just
mistakes happen, shit happens.
Well, what happened with the what's the out the front dark gravity that I can't think of right now? It's so expensive. It's so hard to get those out the fronts that are so exclusive.
Oh, the Hawk.
Yeah.
Oh, Deadlock.
Lefty.
Yes.
It was Lefty. What happened with that? I watched that live. What happened with that?
He sent it back. Somebody let him borrow it. A good guy in the community. I don't know his name, but he was in the chat that night. Sent it back. And you know how Lefty wraps everything. Have you ever gotten a package from Lefty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he doesn't put things in boxes, but he packages things pretty well. And in hindsight, 2020, he said he should have packaged it totally different. But somehow, it looks like it got shot. But what probably happened is it got stuck in one of those automated belts, and literally the handle got crushed, destroyed. So the settlement through pirate ship did cover it a little bit less than the value of the knife. Yes, and who's the guy that makes those? What's the company?
It's Grant and Gavin, or Grant Hawk.
Grant Hawk.
Yeah, G&G. What's the G&G Hawk?
I can't remember which one. That Gavin is the one who makes it. Grant is the dad. Gavin is the son.
And I think they've had a conversation with him, and they're in the process of getting another one made. So, at the end of the day, it'll be fine, but in a lot of cases, it wouldn't be.
Sometimes, you get a cool company like those guys. Hey, we're gonna help you out. You got pirate chip that's gonna help you out. But if not even just in shipping, but like say, just they're sharpening and you drop the knife or anything could happen. A mistake would happen. I would feel bad if they had to make that call and be like, hey, your expensive knife got kind of dicked up, and I want to make it right. And one, like sometimes you can't get them. I would feel bad because I had that happen. Like I let a buddy drive my sports car back in the day, and he put it into the curb and fucked up a bunch of shit. And it's like, who's responsible for this? Well, I let you drive it, but you did something stupid. Not saying that but it was an accident. Accidents happen. I would feel horrible, like saying, hey, you scratched my blade or you did something, you owe me, you know, you don't want to, I don't know. It's just all these, it's all these what ifs. Cause I've got to, I mean, I'll send knives out to anybody like Dave to check out, like, want a knife? Hey man, I'll send it to you. And I'll send Dave anything because we've got that, you know, but I feel bad because I've got a guy that's hinted for a long time who's friends with Dave, and I met him through Dave, but he keeps hitting me up to like see this knife. And at the end of the day, there's less than 200 of these in the world, you know.
Don't feel bad. I wrestle
and
with
it's a lot of money. I'm just like, I'm not. I know. I mean, we've been friends. We talk. I mean, internet friends, but it's like, if something were to happen, it's really hard to get this replaced. I mean, he literally just put up one of these the other day, and it was like 180 something. You know, so I got mine in like September, and it's 176, and the guy disappeared from the world for 2 years. It's going to be hard for me to send this out for someone to check out.
And don't feel like you need to, because I used to feel like that, and it has nothing to do with the people who want to experience the knife. If I've got it at Blade Show, we can sit out and you can hang out with it. It's not that I don't trust them. It's just the fact that it's got to go from here to there. When I saw what happened to Cole, and that was probably karma. So it
what happened to Cole?
Back on him.
Did he lose something?
Yes, he and his was very scandalous. So he sent 2 knives. One was irreplaceable. It was a Wee Malice, and another knife. Dark Gravity. You remember what it was?
I don't. It's been too long ago.
It was right before. It was the week before Cole and Kara got married. So he sent 2 knives in a box. One of them was a Wee Mouse full size. 2 knife modders to have some mod work done, and they talked about it and stuff. And the box got there. They opened it on camera, and inside it was all these essential oils, these little bottles of essential oils. So they thought
I remember something like that.
Cole had punked them. They thought Cole had just joked them out. Well, Cole immediately freaked out and thought they were punking him. When in truth, between point A and point B, somebody that had to be in the postal system knew who Knife Modders was. You know, because you think about all these things. It's one thing to send it to a person, which I think he does now. Only sends it to, Richie or to Lindy. But you can't stop that. I can remember when during Christmas, UPS or the post office, there was a rash of PlayStation, whatever the latest version was, being stolen. Mm-hmm. It made national news.
Before this goes off screen, is it Carco? Is this a knife? This is a Rubens Titanium Tools Roan. And I have wanted one of these things for years. And literally, he literally disappeared for 2 years. And I got lucky on a drop, and so he came back to the knife making world, and I got one, and
happy birthday, Joe.
He did another. He just a month or so ago, he was going to do another 5 or so. I got number 176. He's still under 200. I tried to get a normal blade, and then he just dropped an identical to knife pretty much to this one the other day. I can't remember what day it was, and it was hard. Like, I was like, for some reason, I was like the only person on Instagram to see it, and I could have got it. I was the first one that commented. I was just like, I sent it to a buddy. I'm like, buy this before I buy a second knife I don't need. And thank God it sold, because they're just rare and it's fun. It's big, it's thin, and it's comfortable. And I don't know, just something about it, like with the Striders. It's one of those knives I saw, like I said, 2 years ago, and got bummed out to find out that he had just kind of fell off the radar, and then came back you know, in the last 6 months and started making knives again. So
let's say happy birthday to Joe Isabella. Happy birthday,
Joe
brother.
Isabella,
We'll remember that
is it
for
his
our
birthday
giveaway
today?
night.
Joe?
It is.
Joe, it's my dad's birthday today, Cinco de Mayo. And my dad passed away this last year. And I bought this knife the last time I saw him alive. So that's what I carry today. So happy birthday, Joe. Back to that mail thing. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. Some guys, so there's a guy in the Strider group that lives, I think, in Massachusetts somewhere, that had a high dollar double gunner grip, kind of a rare one, stolen. So then he bought another knife. I mean, the package showed up and he opened it because he got it out of the mailbox and it, you know, he could see there was nothing in there. So he opened it, made a video, and there was a giant hole in the side and nothing in there. So he had bought a knife a week or two later and he had sent it to his mother-in-law that lived 2 blocks away. And I don't know how that works in Boston. Like, I've never been there, but that box had been messed with also, but the knife was in there. So I think people, I mean, if they can, like you said,
some post offices, I think, that are more risk. I think something about that post office out where Knife Modders is, they've had several.
Because it's like, what are they using to ship? Like, what does it say? Knife Modders on it when they ship out, or
what they're writing on the box?
Yeah.
When somebody sends a box out that says Strider knives, then it's going to get stolen. When somebody sends
that's what's nice.
It's
like,
going to get stolen.
You buy from Strider direct. It says it comes from Marissa Strider.
Right.
It doesn't say it comes, and then Monkey comes from Monkey Corp, which is, if you're in the, but there's some that like DLT Trading, or I get packaged, like, say, E-Knives or any of them, you know, knife ship free. That's how they send the fucking knives.
Yeah, and it just takes that one person in the system that is aware of what they're looking for.
Oh, yeah. So if this guy is a knife guy like us, he's probably gotten multiple. So then all of a sudden he's getting lots of packages every week to his house. It just takes, like, I'm kind of lucky I live in a small town. The post guy, I thought it was kind of annoying that he knows me. Like, he's never asked me, because so much stuff comes in, so much stuff goes out. He's like, they've never asked me what I'm mailing, but he's always like, hey, that last thing you mailed out, get there okay? I'm like, yeah. I mean, we're on a first name basis.
That's a good thing.
It is. Because I had one, and there was nothing he could do. I had one that went missing for more than a month during COVID. And it just sat out on the East Coast for literally a month. And I'd go in every once in a while. I'm like, can you help me? And he'd look it up, and he's like, it says it's still just sitting there in New York processing. And I'm like, okay. And finally, a month later, it showed up. But
it's like they get burped out. I've had that happen with 2 knives that literally I was about to have a replacement sent out. I'm glad I didn't. And all of a sudden, and I think it's once the shipper, but I've been the shipper in that case. It's once the shipper initiates a, hey, where the fuck is it? With somebody at the post office that causes it to start moving again. Because evidently they looked for it. And if you've ever go to YouTube and look at some of those mail rooms, God, man, it's amazing it's amazing that what we order from Amazon gets to us. And I know they've got a great system. What's up, Mere Salt?
It could be, and I don't know if we've talked about this before. I made a video about it a while ago and got some pretty good response, like, because there had been a lot of stuff like missing, people, you know, just stuff going missing in the mail, and they had legitimate claims, and who's responsible. And it always seems like in the Facebook groups, it always seems like, okay, you buy a knife doesn't get to you, seller is responsible to refund you, right? And that's kind of like what everybody goes with. And I was just like, is that how it is? Like, it's kind of like an unwritten rule, seller's responsible, which kind of sucks, because
once you turn it over, it's out of your hands.
Yeah, but it's you all of a sudden you're financially still responsible for it to get. What if that person's lying who gets it? Or I get it, like you've got money and this guy's got no knife, but you've got his money, but then you give his money back and you have no knife, and that just seems kind of like the unwritten rule. But I was kind of bummed, and it brought it up because I bought I bought in 3 knives from him. I'm not gonna say who they are, but they're. I all of a sudden was like, I was looking at my bill one day, and it said not responsible for lost or stolen merchandise in the mail, and I was like, well, that's kind of a cop out, because if I'm buying and selling online, and you're pretty big in these groups too, I'm responsible. If I sell something and it goes missing, it's on me. But if I buy something from you, a retailer, and it goes missing, as a buyer, I'm kind of boned. And I had Derek Stang, who's a maker out of Canada. Derek, if you ever see this, you've commented on a couple videos. I've been after one of your stupid knives for 3 freaking years, and I still haven't got one. Let me win a lottery. I have every single one. I have zeros, just goose eggs. But he commented, and he was like, "That's wrong on that retailer, because they pay. The reason he's doing that is something about credit card stuff, and if he had to do a chargeback to someone, they would basically cancel him. So that's the reason that they're doing it." So he was like, I ship insured, and I ship it through a second party. So if something does get stolen or lost,
Somebody like Pirate Ship who will
yes,
actually
like Pirate
stand
Ship.
up for it.
Yeah. So I think the amount of stuff I'm buy and sell, I think I really need to look into a Pirate Ship. And I don't know if that involves getting like a printer. You guys were talking about that on Monday, weren't you?
Yeah, and you can get, and I'll send you some links after this, but they're these little printers that Amazon makes. $100. The really nice ones are $200. The one like Lefty uses, but they're small, which I like because they're about the size of this Kaiser box, and they're thermal printers. So all they're good for is printing labels, right? You can't print fancy shit on them, but then you get a Pirate Ship account, and you can, in essence, print and keep up with your shit. That would be very, very helpful. Because when I think about it, I have to go to the UPS store every time. I've got an account down there, and I could do it online if I had a regular printer that I gave to my daughter when she went to college, because I don't have really a space for it, right? That's my problem, Forrest. I just don't really have the space in my little jam for a regular printer. I could put a wireless printer over there, but I think for what I would need it for, the little small one is kind of appealing. But yeah, it's a nightmare because I have to handwrite everything out and then go down and translate it. The good news is the longer I do it, the more people happen to be in the system, right? So I'll go down there and I'll start giving a name, and they'll go, "Oh, have you shipped to him before?" And I'll always say it's a tool. So they always ask what it is, and I just say it's a tool. And rarely will I insure it. Now, I've insured some knives before, but I always know that it might as well blow money up a hog's ass than insure it through the postal service. I don't know if UPS is better.
I've talked about that too. Like, I've had some guys that want it insured, but then you've got this package floating through with a super high value on it. So does that make it a target? I mean,
look at me. I know.
Yeah. Hey, what the hell is in this package? This little
Howdy, Revolving Blaze, Illuminati.
What's in this little tiny box that could possibly be worth like $2,000? So does it say steal me? I don't know.
But you think about it, that commerce takes place every day. I'm amazed at how many packages get left on a porch, my porch, and don't get stolen. You know, so maybe it's just, have you had any bad experiences, Dark Gravity, or have you always kind of come out unscathed? And you might not want to say it to not jinx yourself.
I mean, if I buy something, I mean, from an individual and they don't put their name on it, they put whatever, then I I'll give them hell. Like if I bought something from Steve and it said Scotch and things on it, I would be pissed because
I use my name, my you get my legit name and everything.
But a lot of folks want to put their handles on there because they don't want to reveal their name, and I get it. You know, for a long time I didn't, but that's because I work in the steel industry and I worked for the people that made knife steels at the time it started, and I have a very odd name. You know, my name is very easy to find because there's not a whole lot of us in the United States. And so that's why I used something different. But anytime I've ever done a transaction or sell something to somebody or buy something,
channel member,
I always use my name. And when you ship packages, I mean, I've gotten stuff and it'll have whatever like when I've won stuff, it'll have the channel's name on the package. It'll be wrapped up in special custom tape. Lefty, you know, that just advertises steal me. Kyle Lamphere had a $2,500, $3,000 knife stolen from a custom knife maker out of Canada, and the dude wrote that whatever his damn knife business was, that's why somebody opened the box.
Because it couldn't even be like a knife enthusiast. It could just be someone that says, they see something, it could be like blank custom knife, and they see the thing custom and think it's expensive.
Because let's think about it, they probably know how to flip things, so they probably
all you gotta do is go on eBay.
Whatever's in there is going to be valuable.
Yeah.
When I ordered my watch and got my watch from Crown and Caliber out of Atlanta, Georgia, I had to go to the UPS store and sign for it. When you're dealing with high value items, that's kind of how you should do it. You know, the $200 and $300 knives, I mean, we're just really just kind of taking a risk, and hoping for the best. But when you start dealing with higher value stuff, I mean, you gotta, to me, if I was sending out one like a custom SMF, or anything of that level, I'm gonna have it insured. I'm going to have it signed for.
I want it signed for, but you know what I found out? Like, I was shocked. So, and the guy who knows my name now, but thank God he's never asked what I'm mailing multiple times a week and insuring sometimes, because guys, sometimes it's nothing, and sometimes they're like, I'm in a town of 10,000 people. It's like, hey, insure this package for $2,500, and they look at you like you're a drug dealer. During COVID, USPS was allowing postal carriers to sign for packages and leave them
to do the faceless drops
because there was less contact. And seriously, just last month he asked me, he's like, I had a guy that wanted insurance. So I'm like, all right, fine. And he was like, well, do you want the carrier to sign for it or the person? And I'm like, what? And he's like, well, it was a COVID protocol where a carrier can sign and just leave it. I'm like, no, I want the actual person to sign for it,
Well, it's like Revolving Blade said. I mean, if it can be a systemic problem that they have a hard time catching, because what I've noticed is the thing is when you track it electronically, it says left on porch or left in mailbox, or the bullshit line, the mailbox was blocked so he didn't deliver it, and you know that you're out for delivery, but they were just slack, because you can't have a mailbox that's blocked if you live where I do. But to me, it's just, okay, so I can leave the package, I can take a picture of it for my backup, and then I can steal it.
Yeah.
Because I've left it, I've scanned it, I've photographed it, I've done my job. But nobody's there unless I've got a Ring doorbell to see that I took it.
It goes to the same kind of thing of like if you're using like PayPal, friends and family, or goods and services. Guys have figured out, like, Well, yeah, goods and services protects the buyer, but friends and family protects the seller. To where like the buyer, if you use goods and services, they can get the knife in the mail and just say, "Hey, PayPal, I didn't get this. Give me my money back." And the buyer is screwed. They don't ask any questions. They don't ask for I mean, it's a whole giant process for you to be like, "No, look, here's like here's the tracking. This was delivered." So there's just a whole lot of, it's just scary. And
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
it's
want to.
usually,
I don't want to jinx myself because fuck, man, I send a lot of stuff out.
and that's scary, buddy, because you've got to think. And a wise brother in the community who may be in this room told me once, you've got to be willing to lose it if you're going to mail it, because
Yeah,
there's that unknown. And it doesn't matter if it's, it's nice to have friends. And I'm also real big about, no, please don't send me that.
mm-hmm.
I'd love to see it. If we get together, I'd love to see it. But no, I don't want any responsibility for the thought of you even putting it in a box and taking it out of your possession, because I know how important it is to you, right?
It's and that's like I'll send anything. You guys want anything? I'll send it to you. But
That's very true, Cooperlight Steve. Ask Lefty about that one.
what do you say?
You can get your PayPal banned during NAF
Oh,
sales.
well, all right. So here's another. I haven't responded to the guy. If he's watching tonight, I'm sorry.
Zach Stuff, thank you, brother.
Where the
Let me
F
get
did
my
it go?
sounder out.
Shit. Oh, all right. So and if you're watching tonight, hey man, I'll respond to you. I'll respond to every comment. So this Medford Slim, or this Medford Mini Marauder, all right, I paid $8 something for it. Carried it a couple times, but because of the way Medford
Thanks,
did this fancy finish on it, it's got a ton of scratches. Like, and we talked about this. I'm selling it half off. I'm literally just going to turn this into a work knife. But I had a guy that wanted to buy this, and he was like, "How do I get a hold of you?" And I'm like, Instagram. I'm in like literally every Facebook group. And finally, his wife hits me up and is like, "Hey, so and so, the knife." I send them pictures. I send them videos.
What up, Jeffrey?
And I said, "Here's the price. It's $450, half off. PayPal, friends and family, no notes." That's kind of like the industry norm, right? PayPal, friends and family, no notes, because
no notes at all.
Yeah. And she hits me up with this giant thing like, "Hey, I know you have a YouTube channel and this and that, but my husband's kind of new or naive or whatever, and why are you asking for friends and family? Why are you asking for no notes?" And I said, "Hey, back up. I'm sorry. Like, I want to sell you this knife if you want it, but I'm going to back out because that sounds like scammer talk to me." And she says, "Well, we're the ones that aren't protected." I'm like, you put notes in, you lock me out of my PayPal. You say knife, my PayPal's gone, right? And if I have $1,200 in PayPal, they freeze that. And and he just hit me up again the other day. He's like, "Is that still for sale?" And I'm just like, I'm not like, look, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because,
Ed, what's up?
Go in the knife groups, search my name. I gave my name. I'm in here's my vouchers. They all ask for, Facebook. In the Facebook world, it's all about vouchers and this and that. But go search any page. I'm in it. There's posts. I've got vouchers. So I'm not going to, for $400, I'm not going to, if you're a scammer, I'm not willing, or even if you're not, I'm not willing to take the risk of you effing me and PayPal and get my account locked.
PayPal. What's up,
Yeah.
Pocket Stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it was horrible. It was a horrible deal for Lefty, and it was just a couple of joke notes that got him in
Yeah,
trouble. One of them, they misspelled riffle, or the postal or PayPal interpreted as rifle,
yeah,
and the other one was said for blowjob.
yeah.
And they
You
thought
don't
he was
want to
selling
puff it.
sex stuff. You don't want to joke on any of that because again, it's all
No.
caught by AI and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
he never got the money that he had in his PayPal, even after
it's
he filed a claim at the end of the waiting period to make sure there were no claims against it. But it took him. I think he has a PayPal now, but I don't know how he did it. Maybe they let him off the hook or let him out of jail. But that's why I do not sell knives. If I sell them, I'll sell them in person to friends. But I know a lot of people do. My buddy
it's
A to Z
hard.
EDC buys and sells knives on Facebook groups all the time, and he's never gotten burned. Knock on wood. Um, he let me borrow these guys.
Dude, like I would love to keep everything I had, but I would have a billion knives, you know? And
It
like I took a someone buy that like here this ADV, I got it from Dave, you know, just he wanted a knife I had and he was like he was trying to get rid of some stuff. I'm like, oh, I'll take that. I love the knife, but in all reality, uh
I'll give you a name after this to take a picture of that knife and DM it to this guy.
it's an
I'll,
awesome knife. The action I absolutely love it. But there's just other stuff I'd rather carry. And I've learned at work, bearing knives don't work for me. They just don't work. I'll show you. I mean, I can go grab a knife right now. One of my favorite. It was a Grail knife
hey,
forever.
pizza operator.
I'll go grab it and show you guys how bad it is. Bearing knives just don't work for the kind of shit I do. Just because it's so dirty and it just messes with a bearing's life.
The
So,
washers are the only way to go.
oh,
And you're
washers are. I will literally go grab the knife that I got from Kyle and show you how smooth that is. I've got another one in my truck that the smoothest knife I've ever from them I've ever had. It's crazy for just, but that's what's great about knives. For what I do, I work in shitty, windy, dirty conditions where crap gets into your knife. Where if I took my pants and did that at the end of the day because it's been so dry here, it's just dirt everywhere. Washers at work better for me.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you're going to
Yeah,
be, I bet you're around a lot of dust too, aren't you, Dark Gravity? Or is yours more microscopic and sucked up?
No, mine metal dust, but it's not. It's too much grease. Ours doesn't float in the air because of the grease.
Makes sense.
I wish I would have taken a picture of the knife. Like I felt bad. Like Kyle sent me the pics of the knives, and I'm like, oh shit, man, you have to clean the blade. And he goes, oh, I did that for the metal shavings. And like I sent it to him all fucked up looking, and he did a good job. Let's just say he did a great job. So
Yeah, Kyle Coonley's a good sharpener. He
where's he at? Is he not in it? Is he not in like
no,
here tonight?
he's over at B's. He'll be here in a little
Oh,
while. But
he's
this
at
stuff is
Bees. Come on,
probably this is really good stuff right here. Have y'all ever gone to DePriest Ford? They sell
what's that
this.
say?
It says Wicked Clean.
Wicked
They
clean.
they sell it at River's Edge Cutlery. They also have some stuff called Wicked Wax, which is a blade protectant. But
My buddy uses like an axe wax that's like that.
this is like a real thin, low grit flitz type stuff is the closest thing I can describe it to. But I'll use it on my blades. I'll take it and I'll just rub it in with my finger, just get it on both sides of the blade, and then take a rag, one of my cloths, and just pull it off. And that stuff will clean a blade like nobody's business. You have to buff it a little bit because it does leave behind residue, especially if you've got a dirty rag. But either Wicked Clean or Wicked Wax, and I'm not affiliated with anyone. But I met this guy in Nashville at the Blade Show. You met him with me, Dark Gravity. Were you with me when he came up? But
Yeah.
then he started selling it on DLT and
Oh,
on
there's Kyle.
River's Edge. He is there. I was kidding, buddy.
Kyle,
And
we're just
there's
gonna
nothing
start
wrong with
talking about
going to V's. I'm going to give away a
your
knife too,
services.
though. I guess I need to show what we're going to give away. Notice the new improved John already has it boxed up. Now, granted, it's in a different box, but it's in the right maker's box.
I'm gonna step out real quick and go get that other knife from Dark Gravity, Kyle. I'm sorry, Dark Gravity from Kyle. Give me 1 second.
So this is what we're going to give away tonight, guys. And this is actually a super, super smooth knife. Has fantastic action. Y'all know what that is? It's an oldie but a goodie. Little Kaiser Begleiter with just drop shut. Action. So we're going to give that away tonight in a little while, and we're going to do something to celebrate Joe Isabella's birthday in our hashtag. I don't know what yet. Yeah. So that'll be fun. And we were going to have a special guest drop by, but he's going to drop by next Friday night because his daughter's got an event this evening, which is totally understandable. But if y'all have been looking at fixed blades, he's done some really cool stuff lately on, sent me a drawing today of a 5-inch, something I'm hunting, a 5-inch fixed blade gripper's the closest thing I could talk to him, Tad. I've got to let the cat in. She's over there whining at the door.
I don't have anything to talk about.
Talk to somebody for 2 minutes. Sorry about that. I didn't even have my background on. Was it dark back there? Could you tell?
I can't tell because you're flashing.
I'm flashing.
Yep.
How am I flashing?
Anytime somebody leaves, you start flashing on my screen. Now that Steve's back, you quit flashing.
That's weird.
It's because I'm special. Oh.
What'd you carry today, Tadney?
Right now, I've got the titanium or the PM2 that my son got me last year for Father's Day with titanium scales.
Nice. Is that the S45? Which one's that?
Yeah, it says 45
Yeah.
with a black blade.
Oh, yeah.
And titanium scales.
Very nice. Are those ray lights or titaniums?
Bright light.
Sweet. I carried my Evo Mash V2, which I've really been impressed with this. I thought it was not going to be nearly that knife. And then I carried my Honey Bear Chickadee. Honey Bear 85 made this available to me in S90V. And then I carried in my left pocket my little Boker Barlow. So I'm trying to carry a slip joint and use it daily. What'd you carry?
We went to work this morning. Oh shit! God dang it! Hold on 1 second. I gotta go grab the other knife.
All right, I'm gonna do a real quick pocket check in the group. All right, guys, what'd y'all carry? Ian Coates, welcome, brother. I know what Ian carried, I bet. No, Louie, I got your info, buddy, and I've got you boxed up right over there. I've got the packages that I didn't have addresses for, and your package, and everybody else is boxed and going this week. So y'all are good to go. Thank you, man, and I appreciate your patience. All right, so Ian Coates carried the T338, the Bexar, dual side click, purple. What a slider! That's a 10. What you don't. And then Scotty carried the SAK banner and the SAK waiter. Why can I stop it? Archbishop
What's
2,
up, 5-door?
my newest Forrest Hank from Gone Awry. Coprolite Steve rotated a few today. 2 needed Loctite, so he had to swap his M4 Smock, Mini FSD, and a Growler. Very, very nice. Blade Ogre, the Boca Club Slippy from Smoky Mountain Knives. I've been showing it here for a while. Blade Ogre, I love that little knife. I love the shape of the blade. I hope you're liking it. 5-door Strider PT most of the day. Spiny Dogfish tonight. Nice. That's a good looking knife. Demonot carried the Kunmu Tau Compact Pact and a Shaman. Very, very nice. Howdy dang Ross. What is up? Pizza Operator carried the Arcane Crawler. I've seen several of those that came in recently. And a Kaiser Townser K and L-Max. The nice one. What kind of scales does that have, Pizza Operator? Is that the carbon fiber? And then Bluminati Ninja carried the Kaiser Baby, the Mini Paragon, the Sheepdog XL, the Night Horse, the Wii 617F, Devo Growler, the My Card Opinion, Vampire Jack, ooh, Top Dog and TBOD Hanks, some Jake's Jank, JN Touchwood, Juggling Ninja, and then Big Red EDC's 4th ID EDC Roundtable Challenge coin. So a Big Red EDC, a 4th ID, and an EDC Roundtable Challenge coins. Very nice, Illuminati.
It sounds like he's just challenging like a metal detector. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
Hey, that is definitely a lot of stuff. What's up, Drooby Tunes? He's on the way home, guys. Can't even hear us watching comments till he can drive again. Dude, be careful. Where are you, Drooby? Pocket Stuff's carrying the Finch Holiday and a weird 15-year-old beater song. Blink. I've been watching Blink 182 show because they just went back on tour, so I don't know.
From Coachella?
Yeah, I saw
Did
it.
you
It was
watch
pretty
the
cool.
Coachella stuff?
I saw part of it.
Too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was loving it. Jeffrey Dawson, brother from another mother, channel member, carried the 15V Shaman and the ABW Model 2. That is a great knife. Is that the frame lock? I definitely want to get an ABW. I think those are great values. I know Shane at Edgy American loves them and is real good friends with, is it Michael, the guy who makes those? I forget. Budget Guy FKT carried the Finch Knives Chernobyl Ant Glow Resin from Tree Stab and Troy. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Probably going to get after a Mac 2, after Blade. Ian Coates is having a conversation. Awesome, brother. Kyle Coonley said, did you find anything fun shopping this week? Dark Gravity? Anything cool? Have you been shopping yet this week? Oh, you did? I got you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Ian Coates, I'm going to try to get nothing at Blade, but I've already got 2 that I've got my eyes on. But hopefully I won't be a flush with cash when I get over there. I'm hoping that it doesn't work out that
I might send you some money.
I've got other people that are talking about PayPaling me. We'll work something out if I'm in that mode. I'm mainly going for people. So
I don't
I'm
know
in
if
different
anything
places.
I want right now.
And that's a good thing. Brother Zach, I'm so glad he's here, is carrying the Benchmade Anthem and a Benchmade Tagged Out with Flytanium G10 scales, which looks awesome. And Ed is carrying the Alex Steingraber Transparent Knives Feud. Acid Test Kids is carrying a Cogent and a CRKT CEO. Brand New American, the Eutectic Trinity. Nice. That is a nice knife. And then Chito Bandito's got his Cold Steel Fin Wolf. I'm gonna have to look that up. Kaiser Towser K, Leatherman Surge, and that Remington Baby Bullet. You gotta love the Baby Bullet. And I like Leland's carry. It's got the Springfield XN9 Mod 2, Benchmade bug out, all tie scales and hardware, and a Hogue K320A to match the XD9. I love it. Is the A the drop point or the Tanto? I've got the Hogue K320 Tanto, but it's the first version that's just got the FRN scales. I think the A maybe means aluminum with the G10 inserts. Let's see if I missed anybody. Mayor Salt was carrying a CRKT regular and a man bug. Had the big and the small covered. Dark Gravity answering questions. Am I far behind? Gracian, and I'm saying that wrong. One day we're going to bump into each other and you can say, no, man, my name's Gracian, or my name's Gracian. Carried his Pulsar, his Crypt, Surge Utility Slip, and a new Civivi Hadros. When you got your Crypt, I saw your post on Instagram. That thing is just mean looking. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Oh, the Sog Blink. I got you, Pocket Stuff. I got you. And Mike Jonak's carrying a 6-pack and a Kubi Atlas. I like it. Dang Ross, a Chopped Shaman with newly added Bill Pro X scales. Very, very nice. And a custom Pelican fixed blade from a local maker, Chris Chisholm. Cool. Beaver Bear and Open L6. Nice. Forrest, I saw his post today. Spartan Harsey, Boker out the front, EDC coin on his Forrest Hank. I love that Harsey. I was with you when you got that last year, if I'm not mistaken. Or with you right after you got it, because you let me fondle it. Ian, he was last year, so I think he will be at Blade Show. I actually heard about him being there and talked to people who had gone to his booth and talked to him, because he's from Tuscaloosa. He's from my home state. But I never bumped into his booth. But again, it's kind of massive if you're not looking for something specific and it's not one of the major booths or the bigger booths. It's easy for some of the small, really good makers, if you don't know that you're looking for them, to go undetected. Now, you can find anybody. It's just like me. I've learned by going to shows with Dark Gravity about makers that I had no idea about, Michael Zeba being one of them. Revolving Blades carried the Buzz, the Arno Bernard Squirrel, and the WC SF X9. How do you like the Buzz, Revolving Blades? I was looking at it last night when Lefty was showing them compared to the MASH. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I always am. But when I got this knife, I think for $130 in titanium, and I saw the handle shape, I did not expect it to feel this solid. I did not expect it to have sounds like that. I didn't expect it to have a hologrind that was deep. I didn't expect it to have this nice little area where, I don't care that it says 14C right there, but where the blade is so well chamfered out for that little choil area. And I know the Buzz has a much more defined choil, but everything about this knife has made me think it punches over its weight. Only T8 hardware. And up until this point, I've always referred to my Asher Nomad. You know, if he can sell a knife, if Asher can sell a knife for that, that's a hell of a bar to set. And, you know, even when Lefty was showing this last night alongside the Buzz, which if I'm not mistaken is right under 3, it's nicer titanium, it's milled, it's got a S90V blade, it does have another deployment method. I think it's a front flipper too. It has a brushed satin blade, I think. There's several differences, but to me, this knife blew me away. And I know they dropped some tonight. I doubt they're still available, but just well done. And the other thing they sold, which is as crazy as my brain went, is they sold hardware sets. So you could get purple hardware for this knife. You could get black hardware for this knife. You could get several other colors, right? Well, I thought about getting the black hardware and murdering it out. And then I thought, well, I can't really murder it out because my blade's satin. And then my addict brain went, well, you can grab a blue Taiwan, do a blade swap, do your black hardware, and then sell the other one. But luckily, I resisted that urge and just kept it like it was. But I've carried it since I got it. And the wire clip, a lot of people hate wire clips and switch them to Lynch's. I love Lynch clips, don't get me wrong. But the wire clip just works so well. Let me get back to my read and make sure I hadn't missed anybody. All right, Crispy Critter, the Fiddleback Forge, Bear Club Fixie in Shockwood, and a blue denim penguin beater. My blue denim penguin beater, I've given away knives that cost 3 times as much, and I love that knife. It means something to me. Ian Coates is going for one knife, large 31 plain Jane drop point Sabenza. Well, Ian, I hope that you find it, and I almost feel surely that you will, because there'll be a lot of retailers there too. Leland Fields carrying a Tanto Auto. Mike Jernak is saying hi to Acid Test Kids. I was about to read that as a knife model. Twang Thang, what's up, brother? All right. Ian, you don't have to plan for it, man, because I'll tell you this. Everything you plan when you get there is almost better in hindsight not to have a plan, right? Just go there and take it all in. If you're looking for a bunch of knives, that'll cause you extra stress because you don't really need to put on that stress because they're all want things, right? You'll find so much cool stuff there and you'll get caught up in the people. Drooby Tunes is saying hey to you, Tad. I'm sure you're seeing that. And Ed carried the QSP Hawk. But yeah, don't worry about being underplanned. I'm underplanned. I haven't even bought my Blade Show tickets. I know where I'm staying. I know when Grateful Panic and I are heading over there Friday morning. And I'm going literally to hang out in the pit. And I don't drink, so I'll just be hanging out. But yeah, just to see the people. And I'll walk around and look at knives. But there's nothing that I really want. I would like at some point to get a Jack Wolf. That might be the good place to get one, but I don't feel like I need one. I think I'm at the end of my slip joint rabbit hole. And the other thing what was it? Oh, a buzz. I was talking to Lefty about maybe getting a buzz there, but it's not anything. None of those are things that if I didn't get, it would make my time there any less enjoyable because I'm going to hopefully just bump into people that I didn't bump into last year and see. Dr. Drew Do says McNeese said he's going to have a rare jig tie Mac 2s at Blade Show. See, that's another knife I really, really like, but I have no business adding to my collection. It would be great in my collection. I would love to have it, but that would almost, for me to justify it, I should probably sell some knives. And then we get back into that issue of you sell knives, you put yourself at risk, you put the people you sold them to at risk, you never see the knives again, all those things.
I really, Dave sent me he got the jig tie or some whatever from Blade Show last year, the Mac 2.5 or whatever the bigger one is.
3.5.
3.5. And I really like that knife. And I want one, but it's like, am I gonna, when it goes time to carry a knife that day, am I gonna choose to carry that or something else? And it was like, I really like the knife, but would I carry it? And that was like, that's a lot. That's 400. What they're like, 400, 450.
I'm sure they're every bit as much as a Hinderer. Yeah, I'm sure they're 450, 475.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you get the jig,
and it was such a nice knife, and I liked it. I was glad he let me borrow it because then I was like, okay, I could kind of pump the brakes a little bit because would I carry it, or would I
Well,
have it just to have it?
jump in if I don't think Said Stevie's in here anymore because they're probably getting ready for their midnight show, but it's his favorite knife. It's
Yeah.
one of his favorite, and he didn't buy it thinking it was going to be. It was one of those
Oh,
that
it's a
kind of came
great knife.
through. It came through for him to try. He tried it out and was able to acquire it from the guy who let him try it. And then, if you go look at his Instagram, it's with him pretty much all the time. He loves that knife. And it's made me really want one. Not an auto, but the manual.
Yeah, not an auto. It's a great knife. But like the thing, I just for some reason it's like I'm gonna carry a Strider. I'm gonna carry Chris Reeve, or here's the other knife Kyle did for me. And for the 20 minutes I was at work today, Kyle, I already fucked up the tip you put on there for me.
That means you just get to send it back to him.
Yeah, I know.
You're right, Jeffrey. I didn't try the Buzz, but the Mash 2 came out just amazing. I'm really proud of those guys. Sorry, dude. Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't.
You were showing that knife. Is that the one that
Oh,
you?
no.
That
This
you?
is the other work knife I sent to Kyle, and I sent it to him. Beat the hell, like it looked. That's kind of, I like this tiger striping they do because it shows wear, and I sent it to him with some nasty scratches on it, and he cleaned it for me. And they're minor now. You can't even. It was just surface stuff, and he sharpened where I dulled it, and I just cut myself. And Strider sends their Tantos dull, so you can like pry and scrape with them. But I said I wanted a little sharp, so he just sharpened, just like it was. I don't know how he did it, but just this tip part he sharpened, and then just in the, like I said, the 20 minutes I was there today, I cut open a box and banged it against a bunch of metal and knocked that out where it's not sharp anymore. So
No, but the good news is somebody like that, if it bothers you, can definitely fix it.
yeah. So he, like I said, did an awesome job.
Twang Thang, congratulations, buddy. Channel member. Everybody that I've seen posting it, receiving them, seems to just love them.
This is the other knife I went to grab. So this is a
Pitt, I'm glad it's not just me thinking that, brother, and I'm glad you're here.
the SOCOM Elite manual was a grail for such a long time. Like 5 years ago, when I first held one in the knife shop, yeah, they were available. Now they're kind of scarce. And then I bought one, and then I got this one on trade, and they're just awesome. But as a bearing knife, like anybody that's ever had one of these knows that this isn't normal, right? So I carry this every day because it's the tip up carry, but I carry it in my left pocket, so it's tipped down, works great. It's not going to open up and stab me, but just being dirty with those bearings, I mean, that's not the SOCOM manual action you get. I mean, it's
Well,
dirty.
I wonder if you cleaned it out and ran them dry, how that would work.
I might try that. So it does need a good cleaning, because that's just kind of what I find at work for me, like bearing knives, OTF knives. I carried an OTF for a while at work, probably 4 years ago, and it works great until it's dirty, and then it just doesn't work.
There you go, guys. Blue Creek does have both versions of the MASH 2.0. If any of y'all are looking for it, I'm guessing it's under 140 or right around 140 bucks. Then you can put in a code. The only one I know is Lefty 10. Save 10%. But I definitely think for a knife that punches over its weight, it is just an absolutely winner. Nice, Dr. Drew Dude. The Cigar High Blue Techno 2 today. That's a winner. I've got a different thing coming Sunday. I've got a new chair coming. Ooh, Jeffrey's jumping in deep. Got a Herman Sting and the Zermindo TR. Wow, what is that? Let me Google it.
The Zermino, awesome knife. I sold mine to Dave. I had the bigger version. I might pick up an 80%. For the money, it's a custom knife made in Texas.
TYR, right?
TY, yeah, the tier TYR.
Ooh,
It's a
that is
badass knife,
pretty.
man.
Satu's got some of those.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
sold.
share the screen. Is this it?
He bought two after I let him see mine. He went and bought two, and then I sold him mine because mine was in Damascus, and I mean for the money,
Is that
can't beat
it?
him. Yeah,
Dude, that's gorgeous.
he
I
doesn't put a
love,
great edge on them, but that's my only. And the pocket clips are kind of funky, but
but I
he's
like
working
the
on it.
slab. I just like that
Oh,
slab raw titanium. To me,
oh,
that's just elegant. What's that hole for up there?
it's a Spidey. Which one? That one?
This,
Is that the Is that the stop
maybe it
pin?
is. Maybe it is something like that. Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably where the stop pin goes in.
Yeah, but dude, he makes some other ones, but that's his best looking one, I think. And it's just, I'll, even though I sold one to Dave, I'll probably get another one because they're
Well, he
just so good. Yeah, I mean, look at the prices. I
that's
mean,
not bad.
no,
So the 80's is like a mini. Is that 80% the
it's
size of this one?
yeah. So it's like I almost want to say like a pair of three size, maybe like a Spyderco pair of three. I've never seen one, but
All right, the big one's
I
three and
had
a
the
half
full
blade.
size.
Let's see what size this one is. 3.5 inch on the full size. 2 3/4, nice. 6 3/4 overall.
It's a beast of a knife.
Look at that clip. It looks a lot better.
Yeah, and then he's working on the clip, and Dave talked to the guy personally. He had issues with one, and sent it back, and the guy was like, he fixed it.
Oh yeah, that looks like an MX gear almost.
Yeah, and then even like Dave, so Dave sent one of his in to BGM for a regrind, and they freaking killed it. Like
Beautiful
just
order, Jeffrey. I'm gonna look at the Sting. Go ahead, buddy. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh, the Sting is another one I've almost bought a couple times, or not just the Sting, but something from Herman.
Now,
And now
didn't somebody just pick them up? Was it DLT?
DLT, and there's a little bit of like a price increase. So if you order it through the Polish custom knife,
That's where I am right now.
around, I think you can get them for like $600-700, and DLT's got them for like $8. Yeah, $541. And so you're gonna pay a little bit more to get it from DLT, but
But it's gonna come not across the pond,
not from
right?
Poland. Yeah.
Man, they sell for what, 600-700? It looks like on Arizona. Ooh, that Vesperillo's sweet looking. Very cool, Jeffrey. Congratulations, buddy. Josh Worth, channel member, welcome. The M4 Shaman. Very nice. All right, Dribby Tunes. We'll be here, buddy. Let's see. Ooh, McNeese is also working on a Tanto that might make it to Blade Show. I've got the XO-M my buddy let me use as a Tanto. And this is the way I'd get. This is, of the two XOs, this is the one that I had in my cart. I almost bought. I didn't have the money at the time. Still could have bought it, but I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, but I do kind of regret not having it because it's so good. And with this little lock, you can carry it with that deep carry clip because it locks open and it locks shut. Now, would I ever use it? Is it practical? No.
Is it just it's one of those knives you're watching TV and you're messing around with?
It's too loud. I mean, I think it would drive me insane after a while because flicking a knife's one thing. That's pretty. pretty loud. But it's a cool knife, and I think the engineering behind it, even though it's very minimalist, I think it's cool. But it's not cool. It's not $285 cool for me. I
Is
did pick this
Brent
up for $71. That is a Rough Rider Patriarch, and that's a big slip joint.
and you guys were talking about the GECs the other night on Monday with Pocket Metal, and they just DOT did that drop the other day, and they were gone like that.
And he, for some reason, that one didn't blow his skirt up, he was saying. And I don't know anything about
because it said
GEC.
DLT on the blade or something like that, or
I don't think it was that. I think it was the pattern. Either he had several of the patterns or there was something. But when I went out and got my slip joint fix, I did everything, and I've got one more of these coming. This is a Brother Watchman from, got a really tight pull, but that's from Amazon, and that's a $37 VG10 knife. And the one I just ordered is $37 carbon fiber Warncliffe of the same Brother, because it's just a nice, well-made knife. I mean, the only way I can tell is, are they centered? Does the fit and finish come together right? Are there rough points? I don't know how to judge a knife. It's just, I like it, and I'll probably carry it and cut with it.
that was my only knife purchase. I got this last Saturday. Carbon fiber SMF, concealed carry.
I saw that. You did an unboxing on that, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's I've been carrying it for a week. I've carried it once at work, but it's sat in the safe for 10 years. I mean, this thing's brand new, and I'll be the jerk that screws it up.
Ooh, Tactical Terry's selling his V2 mash. He's got a black satin just like this one right here with skiffs in it. Did you get a buzz too, Tactical Terry? Why are you getting rid of it? I love that knife. Let's see if I've missed anybody else. $550-ish for a McNeese 3.5. Your Twang thing, that is what I've told Ben that. I've told Lefty that. Lefty threatened to send me one to try. I said, do not do it, because I do have a collector addicted brain. And I think and the one that he's releasing next, the Feel Good Jack, which is that doctor pattern, is just, have you seen that yet?
Yeah.
Dark Gravity?
Sorry, I was talking about.
No, I'm sorry. Have you seen the latest Jack Wolf, the Feel Good Jack?
Yeah.
Dude, that is so sexy.
All of his knives are pretty sexy.
Right, but that one, I mean, for me, the low drag Jack and this one have gotten my attention more than any others. Let me pull it up. Let me show
I'd
it.
have to go. I know the low drag Jack was one that I really liked, and there was another one that had more of a Laney's clip type blade, and I like those two.
That limoncello, for some reason, which is a lot of people probably think that's the ugliest color, but look at that blade.
And they're like $300, aren't they? $299, something like
Yeah,
that.
$274 to $299. I don't think he did any of my card on this run, so they will probably be $299. But S90V come with a slip.
He's got such a following now. Like, I know.
Dude, he put these together, the packaging, the marketing. He was at Blade Show 2 years before this launched, because he ran into an issue with the manufacturing where he had his protos. He was at Blade Show. He kept his eye on the ball. He, I think, put together a company that I'm scared to buy one from, because I know that I would get into those the tubes, the little, what do you call them?
The puck or whatever.
Yeah, the little things that come with it. I would get into the different patterns. And then what he's going to do is he says that it's not like this knife will never be available again. Once they're sold, they're sold. But he
Mm-hmm.
might do it with a different blade steel, or he might do it with a different, it's one of those things that would be a very deep, dark rabbit hole.
So here, and I watched enough of his. He's been on with Kevin enough times. Like, I know he's done the research and he's the expert on that. And he's looked at, I think Riot's making them, right?
No, he doesn't. He swears that Riot's not. Riot was the
Really?
one that was going to make them, and then there was an issue, and according to Ben, Riot's not touching them.
So
Never has.
guys are willing to pay the $300 if he could do them here in the States. What would the price be? And he's might have said, but do you think guys would? I mean, seeing now that there's such a huge traditional slip joint following, I mean, it's huge. Like for GEC, for Case, for his stuff. If those knives were $450, would someone buy a US version, or $500 even? I don't know what it would cost him to.
Well,
Because
I
I know
see.
Medford talked to him about his slip joints and his. I mean, because Greg was like, and that's what we were kind of talking about. I don't know, 3 weeks ago when Dark Gravity bounced, or not Dark Gravity, sorry, but when Pocket Metal bounced. But like, Greg was like, hey, this guy's the expert. I'm making this thing. I want him to tell me how the walk and talk should be. If there was a U.S. maker, and that's just the sad thing. Like, I think guys would pay the extra money
I
for
think they
his
would
knife.
too. I think a lot of it is, and I'm just speaking from my, limited non-experience, but that most of the people that have shops that can make things like that, they're being paid to make other stuff. It's just not cost effective to run the machines, and they probably don't have enough. We feel like there's a lot of demand, but for somebody that's running equipment, maybe there's not. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the nips look really cool too. I mean, I think that, and he was talking last night, I think that would be a really neat slip joint. And Z-Man, you're going to love your MASH V2. Did you get the black or the blue? Oh, Jeffrey, it'll be worth it, buddy, when you get it. Let's see, everybody seems to like their MASH. Budget guy, yeah, slab of steel on each sandwich. You can't not like an overbuilt chonky knife. 5-door new member, thank you, brother. Welcome. There'll be members content put out for you. You got emojis, and there'll be more stuff coming. I'm gonna start doing knife giveaways for member only, and trying to figure out how to do that through videos. Jeffrey, Satu is the best. I mean, I watch his Sunday shows religiously. Every time he puts out his Sunday thoughts, I just sit there and absorb it. He's talented, man. Carco, I wasn't after Slippies. I felt like I'd hit the bottom, but I did order another one today. So yeah, I'm still kind of into them. This is probably one of my favorites. And the other favorite's just on the other side. It is this Max Ace right here, which is probably the coolest Slippy that I've seen because it's so thin. It's like 0.075 at the spine, but it's a good, medium full-size slip joint.
Yeah, Twang Thing. I don't know what his initial startup is, and that's what we were kind of talking about that one day too, was like where Greg does do that stuff for other makers, but they come out kind of looking like a Medford. And if he could stop that and make the knife if he could make a slip joint like Jack Wolf wanted a slip joint made, seeing how he seeked him out to see how he made his, and like they have a relationship already.
Yeah, and I think they're in the same city or real close to each other
Are
too,
they?
if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I mean,
I think
because
so.
Greg, I mean, and Greg hurts a lot of people's feelings, but like come Blade Show,
Oh,
Greg's gonna
Ed,
make
channel
all those
member.
videos with all of those knife makers like he does every year, like Ramon Chavez. And he says, I understand why you had to go overseas, to make your productions. I wish you wouldn't, but I get it. There's two sides, and that's what, and Lefty said it too. Greg plays a part, and he's playing this part, and you're gonna love him, you're gonna hate him, and the guys that, and I heard this a long time ago in the retail world. You make one customer happy, they're going to tell one person. If you upset one customer, they're going to tell 10 people.
They're going to tell everybody they know.
Yeah. So Greg being the villain, if people would understand that, Greg playing the villain he does, that outrageous personality he does, it's only for marketing, because the people he pisses off, they tell everybody. So what do those people do? They go and look at his website or whatever, and they might say, hey, I like that. I like that knife. It's not hurting him.
Thank you, Zach. It is a pog.
The people that weren't going to buy his knife aren't going to buy it, but it's just people talking about him brings more people into his world.
Right. And I mean, I'm not for anything that drives people apart. And this is when I give a JuhVon future me apology, but I always believe in people's right to say it. And I agree that a lot of what he does is playing a role. Today on his Instagram, he released the t-shirt with the question mark on it. I don't know if y'all saw that. So he's just playing it up, but at the same time, we play into it. So
yeah.
I don't want to get anybody triggered. And don't want anybody upset, but at the same time, it's just nice, right?
Yeah,
that's true. Very good point. And Devo might have made very good progress on that. I hope that they have.
Yeah, it sounds like he found someone, right?
Yeah, so far he's gotten documentation of the proto being made. They haven't found out, I don't think, what it's going to end up costing, things like that, but it'll be very small batch stuff. I don't think he's going to do it traditionally, which I can understand.
The 187 is a sweet looking knife, Forrest, and I think I'm going to throw this into the work rotation because it's just a tank.
And he's doing a lot with I heard at one point he was looking at getting a steel company. What is up, Randy? Good to see you, brother.
And he said he was looking at buying it for the American, he's looking out for the knife industry, because think of the Dark Gravity, you'd know this, like the steel industry, the knife part's got to be a small part compared to the rest of the stuff, and him looking to buy a steel company so he can, well, one, it's to make money, but two, to make sure that makers have availability of the steels they need, or what do you think on that?
I work in a sheet mill, and there's not a lot of difference between the sheet mill I work at, which makes car parts, and Carpenter or Crucible or Udahome or whoever you want to go to. The initial process of making the ingot is different, but making the sheet steel is not a lot different. You've got to take that ingot and make it into a thin sheet, blade thickness wise, or in the case of what I do, car, part wise, hoods and trunks and door panels and all that kind of stuff. And you're talking about where I'm at, there's roughly 2,000 people. We run 2 pots. That's it, just 2 pots. And you've got, like I said, roughly 2,000 people that work there. And to pay the electric bill, it's not something you can do just for the knife industry. You got to do it for automotive. You got to do it for everybody. You got to do it for whoever's willing to give you the most money to make it work. Because where we live now, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that any guy that you ever meet that works in a steel mill makes a 6-figure deal. They're making 6 figures. I don't care if it's U.S. Steel or Crucible or Carpenter. I mean, yes, there's jobs that make a little less, but most of them are going to be making right at close to 6 figures or more. And so, you've got all these guys that you're paying that kind of money. I mean, it's idealistic, and it's, I hate to say it, but it's another point where Greg Medford's talking out of his ass. Because, well, Nucor, where I work at, makes billions of dollars a year. And the one plant that I work at makes about $6 billion a year. There's no such thing as small scale steel work. I mean, everywhere you go, it's huge. And to think that or to even suggest that it's even plausible to start up a small scale steel mill to just serve the knife industry is kind of, like I said, it just.
So who would he have been talking about, and what kind of money would he have been looking at?
Well, we're doing an expansion at my work, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about $50 million. And that's just an expansion. That's not the steel mill. That's just making it bigger. It's it's just, he knows that. I think it's more of just the talk, because his knives cost what they do because a 4D milling machine for his level of work is over $1 million. To do multiple blanks of, the scales, multiple blades, multiple of anything. It's not, this isn't a garage CNC, that you can get for $100,000. This is a large scale one, where you're talking about doing 20 knives at a time or whatever it is. You're talking, probably $1 million+ and then you got to pay the guy $35 or $40 an hour to run the thing. He's in Phoenix, so that's an expensive place to live. And, you're talking about paying somebody, $80,000, $100,000 a year to run the CNCs for you. And he knows all those things. And to be a U.S. OEM where you're paying those kind of wages and experiencing those kind of costs and have the option, like when I worked in a machine shop, we could have worked for knife makers. We could have worked for anybody. But like where I'm at, we chose to work for missile defense and aerospace.
Because that's where the money is.
Right. Instead of getting a $300 knife, you got a $3,000 widget. I don't know what the hell the thing was, but I'm just saying it's, you're talking about things where for the same amount of work, you're getting 10 times the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's just cost prohibitive to do stuff like that, you would think, to scale.
Right. We, as America, we don't do little anymore. Everything we do, manufacturing, is big. Cars, tanks, aircraft, those are the big, big ass fucking tractors and combines and all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of people don't realize we export the fuck out of those tractors that Case and John Deere make and all those companies. We export the hell out of them. And everything that America makes now is big. It's not little. And so, I mean, I would love for there to be a US OEM. I would love to be able to get a Jack Wolf level knife or a J Cape level knife from a US manufacturer. But the thing is zero tolerance has kind of proved that you can do that. Because if you look, well, no. If you look at the ZT0308 with 3D milled titanium scales, bearings, smooth as hell, flipper, thumb stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. It does everything that my Chavez does. And it's 3D milled. The Chavez is just 2 slabs of fucking titanium for the same amount of money. Actually, more money. So, I mean, if you look at the 0308, the old zero tolerance hinderers and stuff, I don't remember the numbers. If you look at some of the stuff zero tolerance has done in the past, they show that you can make those kind of knives here.
Why do you think they quit? Like, they've just given up, it seems like.
And it may be that it become cost prohibitive, and that's why they quit. I don't know, because ZT has shit the bed. I've said that.
Keep that thought and keep going. But hold on one second. I was just gonna say, guys, I put this up there. We're gonna do Happy Birthday Joe in the chat. You can put it in there. I'm gonna leave it up for a while. But you got to be 18. You got to live in the continental United States or have an address where I can send it in the continental United States, and have permission to handle tools that are sharp. But go ahead, guys. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm gonna go over here and get the dog something real quick. Keep your story going.
I think I kind of made the point is that, I mean, if you look at some of the knives that zero tolerance has made in the past, the hinderer based knives, not the recent one, the 0562, but like the 0561, the 0560, I think I may be wrong on the numbers, but I believe that's the correct numbers for the previous model hinderer, full size hinderers. I mean, they were 3D milled, 3D milled titanium, just like, a lot of knives coming out of China are.
Yeah.
The 0308, which is the current, I think that's the current big,
I think like that's the last one. Yeah.
It's got 3D milled handles. So, I mean, titanium handles, 20 CV, good action. I've handled them. I don't own one, but I have handled them. They're bigger than what I like. If they would redo something like, I think it was the 0560, they would redo something similar to that, I'd be all over it. I mean, that knife sells I haven't looked in a while, but they were selling $400 or $500 on secondary for used ones.
Yeah, ZT is one of those companies that I always pull for, and then they released that fixed blade, and I'm like, oh.
Well, I mean, if we were still at war, the fixed blade would make sense, but the war's over.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of shit makes sense if we're in war, because that was a big contract for them. I know when I was in the service back in the early 2000s, when Ken Onion and Z first went to Kershaw and they come out with the ZTs, and I think it's the 0300. That was a badass move back then. I mean, making those kind of knives makes sense when you're making it for the war effort, but we're not at war. So now you're making it for, average guys like me and you. We don't need a combat knife. I mean, I'm going to drive to I went to the damn grocery store earlier to buy ice cream for my kid because he's got strep throat and ice cream feels good. I mean, I don't need a fucking Bowie knife to do that. My little fucking Spyderco worked just fine.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it. But, actually I do. Me and John was talking about this, I don't know, over the phone. It may have been on here. We may have we probably talked about it on here. I think the reason Kershaw as a company doesn't really give two shits about ZT is because they're not making much money off of that 0308 selling I'm just going to use a random arbitrary number. Let's say they sell 10,000 a year, and they're probably only making, $100 profit off of it, $75 profit off of it or some shit like that. But for those damn knives they got at Academy and Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops, that cost them $1 to make in China, they're selling them for $25 and they sell hundreds of them. I work in a steel plant. Most of the guys, you go ask them what's in their pocket, and it's a Kershaw that they bought at Academy or Cabela's or some shit like that. One of the Walmart. That's where their knives come from. We're a very, 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 very tiny minority when it comes to knife purchases. And that's just the truth of it. The guys that want a $1,000 knife or a $2,000 knife or titanium and bearings and fancy steel, we're probably not even 1% of the knife buying market.
What's up, Urban Woodsman?
We buy the most volume, and so they do stuff for us. But most people, you take every cop in the town I live in. I don't know. Just say there's 200 cops or 100 cops. Fuck, I have no clue. Each one of them buy a pocket knife. And then all the redneck country boy farmers and this, that, and the other. They buy more knives when you take all those guys and put them together in a day than I buy in 5 years.
Oh yeah.
But they're not going to.
A farming community, and those guys all get their knives from Forrest. I love my DSK kickstop. My buddy's got it right. He's had it for the last month. I miss it. It's awesome.
Budget guy, go to win it because I'm giving this one away. Go ahead, buddy.
It's like a bigger version of the 187. Is how I can explain it. This is a big knife. The kickstand is even bigger, but it's so narrow it carries really well, and I freaking love that knife. And Fifth Door just commented, I do carry my that is one of my church carries.
Gotta be safe on those church carries.
You don't want to scare people, but I love taking that to church. Guys, I gotta bounce. I guess my dog just ate a bunch of sand.
Oh, dude.
So,
hey, dude, I'm glad you were here. Love seeing you always, and see you Friday.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Take care, man.
All right, bye.
So, Urban Woodsman, what are we, 28 days away, buddy? I know you've been keeping count. Guys, I'm going to keep Happy Birthday Joe up there. And just remember, it's Joe Isabella's birthday. Put hashtag Happy Birthday Joe in the chat. And I'm going to give away this beg lighter here in a little while.
Yeah, pocket stuff. I think if you go across the country and you do pocket checks, which I don't normally ask people what they're carrying. I just look at their pockets out of habit. Of course, I check their waistbands too. I see Kershaw writes it in little red letters down the clip on a lot of them. I see that Kershaw a lot. I see a lot of box cutters too. Those folding box cutters. But I see so many Kershaws, it's not even funny.
I saw somebody still had that Serge Panchenko box cutter in stock that I'd wanted to get. It's like $150. It's the last thing I need. And it's the Serge slip joint that you can put a razor blade in. You know what I'm talking about? And I think somebody has it in stock.
I like a lot of Serge's designs as far as the artistic appeal. But for me, it's just me personally. The size of a lot of the stuff he makes is not very practical.
Right.
He makes a lot of really small stuff. And between carpal tunnel and just having used my hands to do work for most of my life, my hands just, I don't do good with little stuff anymore.
Right, right. Bless you. It must be hard every time you pee.
It is.
You, you teed that one up, buddy. I couldn't help but step through that door.
I don't blame you. I walked right into that one.
Oh God, dude, that was just too easy not to take. Wasn't even funny, but that's good. You can laugh at it. Hey, let me ask you on your
I couldn't say nothing the
what
rest of the
what
night.
what's the is it the zip slip, the Kaiser's slip joints you got?
Yeah,
Did you keep your pocket clip on it? Because I've been looking at it in Amazon. There's 7 left, and I didn't.
I thought you ordered it last week.
No, I didn't. I put it in my cart, and then I did a WWTD, and I didn't pull the trigger.
Well, you can't use that on this because I actually have one. So,
Well, yeah, but you
but
got
yeah,
what?
I leave the clip on it and I carry it as a pocket clip.
Just like
I've
a
tried,
regular knife.
yeah, I've tried doing the slip thing and it's just not me. The little leather slips, because I got to take it out of my pocket, take it out of the slip, and then use the knife, then fold it back up, put it back in the slip, put the slip back, all of it back in my pocket. And that's to me, one of the selling features of the zip slip is you can open it with your thumb. Just, I mean, it has that stop in it, so it's kind of not perfect. It's not a fluid thing, because you get that pause. But and it's a lot stiffer, of course, than a regular, breaking a detent. But you get the pocket clip, so it still does everything just like a regular knife does, or that we carry. I mean, it does anything that you know the Spyderco will do. Uh, I mean, it does. It's just the Spyderco. You get to do this,
Right, you get
but
the fidget factor, but I think the slip joints are fidgety because they're tactical.
well, uh, for me, it's just the it's just something different to play with, I guess. Really, like you said, it's a different kind of fidget factor. Uh, did the bill of your hat hit first, or your gym dog when you walked into it? I don't get it.
I think he's talking about my little small member thing. I think he's trying to give you a pat on the back, like
Oh,
when they say,
my hat always hits first.
"That's
Uh,
funny."
but no, the I mean, as far as slip joint versus the fidget factor or whatever, I mean, this one is actually somewhat fidgety because I sit and do, open it and close it probably as much or more than a lot of my other knives. And it's just because I
You
really
can.
like the knife. Well, it's not because I can. I mean, it's because I really like this knife. And I carry it a lot of times as a secondary. And I mean, usually when I carry a secondary, it is a slip joint, but a lot of times it's more of a traditional slip joint. But
Right.
I've even carried this as a primary though. I actually was telling Kyle earlier that the Harsey 3.25 is the knife that is, but I forgot about this until you brought it up. This is a little bit smaller. I think the blade on this is 2.9 inches, but it's got a really big finger choil on it, so I can get my whole hand on it.
I
And so
remember when I held it, I really liked it.
but I forgot I'd carry this quite a bit too, as I like going to do stuff with, whatever, going to Walmart or some shit, and I'll I'll put this in my pocket just as fast as I will just about anything else. Um, Kyle had asked me earlier what I carry the most. For work, I carry the same knife every day just because I'm lazy. It's right now, because I have to change clothes at work because I get really oily and greasy because I do maintenance. So when I put my work pants on and change at work and leave work and come home, when I go to get in the shower, I just drop those work pants in the floor. My knife's still in the pocket, flashlight's still in the pocket. There's sometimes I bring home, little channel locks and stuff like that. If I forget to take them out of my pocket, all that stuff I drop in the floor. I take my wallet out, and that's the only thing I usually take out of my pockets is my wallet, and they'll be there the next day. But I mean, it's just become a habit to carry that XM18 since then. I just never take it out of my pocket. But outside of work, most of what I carry is, I told them that I carried the Strider, the Spartan, and this PM2. I forgot I carry the zip slip a lot too.
I like that zip slip. I picked up on Etsy. I found a guy that made these little, I think it's in my pocket. And I know feel like I'm cheating on Joe and Troy, but I've got a Lancelot leather slip here, and he's getting ready to make me some sheaths. But I found these little guys for like $20. They're these Epoch. The guy makes them in Texas, I think. But I ordered a couple of different sizes of this, and he also makes a little sheath or a little slip for these 5.5-inch Knipex.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and grabbed one of those to get my order over $50 so it would ship for free. That's how an addict's brain works. You think I need a slip for these?
Nope, I carry them in my back pocket free all the time.
And that's how you should. I should keep them on the table for where I'd use it. And guys, I want to say this knife is, because I couldn't read my Ben Banner's ruler, so I had this cheaper little ruler or tape measure given to me at a Calhoun seminar that I spoke at, and I put one of my stickers on it. So now I've got a ruler that I can read past 6 inches. And the reason I was going to show this is that's 5 3/4. The little mini gripper that he's making me is going to be 5 inches overall. It's going to be a lot more like my Chickadee. And I think it's just cool as shit. But I like my little plastic $1.99 JuhVon's ruler, tape measure.
Some of the best tape measures you get are in the sewing section at Walmart.
Oh, yeah. The ones that are kind of clothy?
Not tape measures, rulers. I meant rulers. Because those seamstress rulers are made really good.
Well, I like my little NAFCO because I thought I'd use that angle finder, which I don't even know how to read that thing. But it's just hard to read because it's all titanium, right? So if you're looking at it under light or under a camera lens, it's kind of hard to get the numbers that you're reading. Plus, I can't read a tape measure like in between 5 3/4 and 6. I don't know what that in between measurement is.
I didn't catch what you said.
So if I'm looking at 5 3/4,
and
I'm looking at 6, there's a little mark in between the 3/4 and the 6.
It's usually 7/8.
So it'd be 7/8. So if you were looking at between 5 1/4 and 5 1/2, you've got that same little mark.
It's 3/8.
So they're 8 in a
on a basic ruler, you'll have your whole numbers, and then you'll have the small, which will be your longest line next to the number usually. Then you'll have the shortest line, which will be 1/8 of an inch.
Right. I knew they were 8.
Then you'll have a longer line that'll be 1/4 of an inch. So a fourth is, with the light and things. I hate metal.
I'm looking at it for me. I see exactly what you're saying. I can tell that those are quarters, and then they're eighths, and then there's sixteenths of it in there, right?
Right.
So would you call it 15 sixteenths if it was all the way out to the little
Yep.
dot before the end? And so
Well,
you have to
today,
count off, it'd be 2/16 if it was right down here, or it'd be 1/16 because 2/16 would be an eighth. Because I
no,
know how to do fractions.
yeah,
2/16 would be 1/8
yeah.
because you divide them out.
Well,
Guys,
see, like
dark gravity just taught me how to read a ruler.
today at work, I had to set the side rolls on the mill, and I set each side to 1 and 15 sixteenths, but the gap has to be 75 thousandths or point. Yeah, has to be 75 thousandths. So I used my coworker because I didn't feel like walking to the other end of the plant to get my ruler because his ruler is metal. And with my eyes, I cannot see a metal ruler worth a shit anymore. So my ruler is black with white lines. So I can see my ruler. That's the reason I was saying if you need a ruler, go to the sewing section of Hobby Lobby or Walmart or somewhere like that, is because you can get them that have higher visibility. Is
Easier
for
to
what we're
read.
measuring is fine. Unless you're doing machine work, you don't need a machinist ruler.
No, I'm getting dimensions. I did finally get a scale. And the reason I got a scale because it was like $9 at Amazon. But this knife, people were commenting that this is the Miguron, and they were
Yeah.
commenting that it's just too thick. You know, that it's a nice knife, it works well. Same with the Moirel because they're all thick knives. But I agreed. I said I agree that it's a thick knife, but that makes me like it even that much more, and I'll tell you why. And then let me move my giveaway knife. But this knife, when I picked it up or when it came, I think I showed you guys this before. I hope I'm not boring you. But it reminds me of my Chavez Street. Same thickness, about the same weight. I put them both on the scale, and this one, the Miguron, is about a smudge heavier than this one. They're both within the ounce, but this one actually weighs a little bit more. So what you lose, I guess, in comfort and carryability, you more than make up for with what I think is just a very handy. I would feel very comfortable using this as a hard work knife, something that I had to use every day, like Steve was talking about, to bust straps, to cut out whatever. And it's $47. I just failed it. What'd they say?
I was laughing at
funny.
what Jeffrey Dawson said because I pulled that kind of shit too. But my grandfather was a tool and die maker, so I've been reading a ruler for a minute or two.
Yeah, you were raised right. See, I wasn't raised to do manly things.
Well, no, I mean, I was raised. My grandfather spent 30 years in the military, and then he was a tool and die maker and an engineer after that. Well, he was an engineer for part of the time when he was in the military. My dad he went to school to be a lawyer, and he got his law degree. And I've told you this, but I've never said it publicly. The reason we moved to Alabama is because at the time, we're talking about the late 70s, to work for the state of Mississippi in any form of law enforcement, you had to join the Klan. Well, there's a problem. Two problems. One, my family's not racist. Two, my family's not white. So my dad ended up working, getting a job with TVA, with Tennessee Valley Authority, and we moved to Alabama. But yeah, it was, I mean, how are you going to ask somebody who's not white to join the Klan? Needless to say, it didn't quite work out.
No, but it got you all here.
Right.
Maddie, what's
But
up, bro?
uh, but that's how I mean, so I grew up, I don't, I mean, that's just, I don't see it as manly things. It's just, I mean, that's just what my family did. You know, my dad went and he played cop all day and uh, did all his legal mumbo jumbo shit for Tennessee Valley Authority. And then when he got off work, he liked to mess with cars and guns. So I
See,
grew up messing with
my
cars and
dad,
guns.
my dad taught me about guns, and that's one thing good I had. He taught me how to clean guns, how to use guns, how to hunt. But he was kind of a, or is kind of a, not really doing it. He didn't teach me how to fix stuff. He didn't. I don't ever remember him wrenching on any of his cars or anything like that. Normal stuff, changing his oil, stuff like that. I just don't remember him doing that. But he was an attorney running around, probably spreading himself thin. And it was good that he taught me the things that he did. But yeah, like fixing stuff, if it wasn't for YouTube, I mean, YouTube has opened up my ability to fix things more than anything else has. Just being able to
But
watch it.
I mean, uh, I never thought a lot about it when I was a kid. And then when I joined the military, you have to take the ASVAB and it looks for your aptitude, what you're good at, kind of. And then I took other tests and things of that nature in college and stuff like that. And everything always said I was very mechanically inclined. Uh, and it's just by default. I've always worked on stuff in my job. Uh, it didn't matter what my job was. I ended up, because I can figure out how to fix stuff. And so it's not anything that I've done intentionally, because in my spare time, I don't want to go out here and fuck with no car. I don't want to go fix anything. I don't want to go make something or build something. Most of y'all know in my spare time, I look for old fucking clothes. And it's probably because I have to do that all day when I'm at work. And just like vice versa, my dad had to do whatever the fuck lawyers do for Tennessee Valley Authority, which I don't know. Uh, and so when he got off work, he didn't want to go do that shit. He wanted to go play in the dirt. And I'm vice versa. I play in the dirt all day for my job. So when I get off, I don't want to come home and play in the dirt. Now, some people do. There's guys that I work with that will work all day. Well, most of them aren't in maintenance. The guys that I work with in maintenance, they go fishing, they go hunting, you know, different things of that nature. They don't go home and work on shit. They don't go home and tinker with cars. It's funny as hell. You go to my work and the raggedy ass fucking hoopties in the parking lot all belong to maintenance. All the pimped out, fucking decked out, jacked up sports cars, monster trucks with all the lights and this, that, and the other and shit. Those are all the regular guys who push buttons for their job. The guys that actually get dirty and wrench on stuff, we ain't going home and wrenching on our shit. We're
No,
going
you've been
home.
doing that all day.
Right. And so a lot of that stuff is just, like I said, people in the chat, probably outside of here, same thing at work, probably make fun of me because I go and buy old clothes. But it's interesting to me. And I was actually talking to a guy today, and I've only talked to him briefly, but he really gets into it. And he's actually started a museum in the state of Idaho that has to do with mining and, the 1800s and all that kind of stuff. He goes crawling under houses from the 1800s looking for old Levi's and old Carhartt and stuff like that. And it's
Really?
yeah. And he did a podcast, and I'll see if I'll try to send it to you. And in the podcast, he's holding up a pair of pants, and it really made sense. There's a pair of pants from the early 1900s, late 1800s. I don't remember the exact time frame, but he's talking about the different things that you can see from that individual's life in those pants. You could see the imprint of his wallet in his back pocket because the way it faded. You could see on his leg, and I've never been able to do this, and I've tried 1,000 times when I was a kid with raw denim, but where he would strike his matches on his pants leg. You could see where he carried a pack of cigarettes in his pocket. You could tell by the ash stains in the pants legs, where he cuffed his pants, because back then everybody cuffed their pants if they were below 7 feet tall because everything come in one length. And so you could see where, like, if he was doing something where he couldn't flick his ashes on the ground, he would flick them in the cuff of his pants. And he'd use his pants as an ashtray.
So it's kind of like almost a
A time
archaeologist going through and looking at his time travel.
Well, and that's it. It's taking that article and looking at it as a time capsule, and what story does it tell? A lot of people are probably thinking I'm weird as fuck because I find that interesting, but I also find regular archaeology interesting too. I just can't go do that. They get pissed off when you go start digging in people's yards.
Right, right.
I mean, but like I said, for me, it's just the curiosity, and I'm a mechanic all day. So when I'm off work, I guess I do focus on tools to some degree because knives are a tool. I use my knives at work quite a bit. So, but I mean, it's just but anyway, like I said, I just think different people have different interests. It doesn't mean that because you can turn a wrench that it's more manly than somebody who doesn't know how to turn a wrench. You can do shit that I can't do.
It would just be, I think I look up to people that can kind of manage their own shit if the shit hits the fan. I know if like times led me to it, I could figure it out. But, I just wish I was more self-sufficient in some of those things that I still probably wouldn't choose to do, right? Because I don't have time to do it. It's all I can do to just cut my grass.
Well, I ain't even cut my grass yet this year.
I cut my front twice and I've cut my back once. I've got to go get my back tomorrow or Sunday. It rained today a little bit. Saved me from having to do it this afternoon. That was my excuse.
But well, see, the thing is what matters is not what you know how to do per se. I mean, yeah, it can help. It's the fact that you're adaptable.
Absolutely.
The ability to adapt to a situation is more important than what you know going into the situation. Because a lot of times when you go into a situation thinking you know the answers, a lot of times you find out you haven't even figured out the problem.
That's exactly right.
The fact that you're adaptable, that you've done it for your entire adult life, and I'm sure you did it in your childhood. You've been a chameleon and adapted to whatever situation or environment you were in. And so that's what matters, is you haven't sheltered yourself in this closed off world away from everything. You've adjusted to everything you've had to adjust.
And you think about the adjustments we've just made in the last 3 years, most of them subconsciously, a lot of them consciously, but just the way our world works.
Well, I mean, me as an individual, I'll be honest with you, this entire COVID thing has meant absolutely nothing to me. It changed nothing in my life. My life never stopped. I never wore a mask except out of respect in a few stores. I didn't get the shot. I thought everybody was an idiot that did. I mean, I have done nothing different today, 3 years ago, 30 years ago. But I mean, that's my form of adapting to things that change is a lot of times you don't have to do anything. It just flows right on me.
That's true. And what it changed for us is the way that we interacted with other people and other teammates in kind of a collaborative type of work environment, right? And socially, it isolated me kind of in a way because a lot of the people around Huntsville were all kind of sheltering themselves. I think they were all scared, but it was a
Well,
different thing. But we always do absolutely adapt.
I can tell you what all the people around me were doing that work over there in, in Huntsville is all them folks sit down,
True urban woodsman.
all them, all them folks who I won't say they work because I know what they do. But all of them people with those jobs that make up the majority of what goes on in the city of Huntsville,
Oh, the
they
defense. Oh, yeah.
they were out. I can tell you right now what they were doing. They were out riding bicycles because the motherfucker next door lives on his bicycle until he had to go back to work. The one that lives right there, he built 3 cars. I'm
Well,
talking
they were
about he built a Grand National, he built an old Cutlass, and he built an old early 80s Chevrolet pickup truck. The one next door kept going on vacation. The other one next door on the other side of me. They kept going on vacation. They'd go to the mountains, they go to the beach, they go here, they go there, because he's getting paid every day, every week, just like he's working, even though he wasn't working. Half of them would go shopping. Half of them you'd see now are still doing it because they still hadn't went back to work. They're hitting the thrift stores. They're at the mall. That's all that happened because we didn't shut down like a lot. Now, I don't know about other cities, but I'm talking about us. The mall didn't shut down. Walmart didn't shut down. The thrift stores didn't shut down. None of the businesses shut down where we live.
They called them essential businesses.
Right.
Like
So
when
everybody,
you look at what happened in California, we didn't experience that here.
right. So everybody did some hellacious landscaping on their yards. At least because I live in a neighborhood where people do landscape their yards and shit like that. And I mean, some of these folks got some nice landscaping going on. But they did all that kind of stuff. I mean, because like I said, I worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, literally sitting here on my back porch, I'm pointing at 5 houses where they all work for Boeing and Lockheed and Northrop Grumman and SAIC and Department of Defense and Department of the Army and all that stuff.
And what's funny is they probably were just as profitable, if not more profitable from it, their companies were, than when they were all working. Because the way that the wheels of that shit run.
That's the thing is the wheels of that shit run from election to election because their
Right.
shit changes. Their shit changes every 4 years.
But let me tell you something, man, and I think I've told this story on this live before. I'm boxing up the beg lighter, guys, and we're going to let it run for a little while longer, then I'll pick us a winner. But I work in a building where most of the businesses are government contractors. Because when I walk in, for example, I walk by offices that are on the ground level. There are these 2 offices on each side of the foyer, and they've got big glass windows. And in one of them, it's got like a statue of a rocket, and then it's got video things playing all the time on the walls, showing missiles shooting out and shit like that. And then on the other side, they've got like a pretty good size scale model of this truck with these missiles in the back of it, and they've got logos hanging on the wall, and you see 1 or 2 people working in there, and then you'll see like an office store from out of town come and deliver a bunch of just really cool furniture for a boardroom and a bunch of new computers. Like one day they had like 13 different Apple computers out there, and you never see anybody really going in and out of there. You see the same people in the morning going in, and you'll say hey to them, and you'll see them in the afternoon. And then one day, like after Thanksgiving, I'll walk in there, and the place is fucking shut down. I mean, there's nothing there. There's not a light on. There's not a rocket in there. There's not a chair. There's nothing. And you're like, wow, I wonder what happened to them. And then about 3 days later, you walk by, it's a totally different business. They've got different military shit models in there, TV screens playing different videos, and you say hey to the same guy you said hey to for the last 3 years. The same people work there. It's just like they do this sweeping. They go in and they close the books, they close it all out, write off whatever, and they start up like literally not even a week later. New furniture, new computers, new models, same 5 or 6 people. Bizarre.
Well, what it is the contract changes. Who holds the contract changes. Who's working on it doesn't. But who holds it changes. And so they change all the decor to represent the new company. But the employees don't change. And typically the employees don't change until they get a job with one of the big players. Like a friend of mine, her mom started out with a little bitty company. Then she moved up to when the contract got bought out by CSI or CIS or something like it. CIS. She moved to them. And then when it got bought out from IBM, she moved to IBM. Then when it got bought out by Lockheed, when the contract ended with Lockheed, she stayed with Lockheed and moved on with Lockheed Martin, because that's one of the big, Lockheed, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman are your 3 big ones. And so a lot of times once the contractor lands with one of those 3 companies, they just go with the company after that. They don't go with the
contracts.
They don't stay with the contracts once they land with one of those big contractors. But that's typically what they do, is they bounce from contractor to contractor, but who's working on it stays the same. It's just who owns it, But I saw what Urban Woodsman put up about having COVID twice. I'm not saying COVID wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't real and people didn't get sick and things of that nature. I had a friend die from it, a very close friend, and I was the last person to talk to him at work. While he was sick, he come up and was talking to me about how he was excited he was going to get to see his grandkids for Thanksgiving the following week, and he didn't get to see his grandkids, needless to say, because he ended up in a coma and he died from it. What I'm saying is the way people acted was like they could stop it, and they couldn't. And that's where I'm talking about people were stupid, is they listened to the government and they listened to somebody making money, and it didn't change a whole lot. I mean, people were still dropping like flies left and right, and then people started having bad reactions to the shots. I mean, and people still got sick after getting the shots. By the grace of God. The way I look at it is I never got sick. As far as I know, I never had COVID. I'm not one of those asymptomatic people. As far as I know, I don't know. I just figured God's not ready for me yet. That's just my personal opinion. Is God don't want me up there aggravating the crap out of Him, and so God chose, because between smoking the way I do, my age, I'm a diabetic, I would have probably died from it.
We're not talking politics.
We're not talking politics, but bye. I've always said I talk about whatever the fuck I want to. If you don't want it on here, if you don't want me on here talking about what the fuck I want to, I'll leave. Or
no, dude. We all just talk about what comes up. We all talk about what comes up.
We're talking about COVID, not politics.
And I don't think we're saying that there's anything not that everybody's crossed their mind. Not that one side's right or one side's wrong. It was just kind of like there were a lot of people that didn't have choices. There were a lot of people that were, kind of shamed into doing things they didn't necessarily want to do. And it was just a weird time. All I meant was it was just a very weird time. You know, it
Right.
was something that I think changed a lot of us, the way we worked, the way we weren't out in society, not because of why we weren't, just the fact that we weren't, right? That's why I got into the knife community. I started watching knife videos because I'd be at home on my computer and I'd have YouTube on in the background. And at some point, somebody thought I needed to see Metal Complex video. And that led me down to watching a little of it and then having my feed start getting knife content in it. Then I bought my first Boker CEO. So I don't blame that time for anything. I just can't wrap my head around anyone who would think that it didn't change a lot of things that our society feels like. I mean, I think it's a new normal we live in now. Not good, not bad, just different.
Yeah, and that's my thing is truthfully, I'm not trying to get political about none of it. I just made a choice for myself. Uh, God forbid I fucking do that. You know, if that's a political stance, then I guess it is.
No, I think
Um,
that's freedom. That's your freedom to choose, man. It's freedom to choose what's best for you and your body. And you know, there's, and we won't get into it, but there were a lot of thinking that didn't think that way, and I felt like that was kind of, you know, different too. But the future me will apologize for it. I don't want to get anybody triggered, and I know we all love knives, so I'm gonna break out.
oh,
I
that's.
don't
I
want
mean,
to trigger dark gravity, huh?
there's a lot of good that has come out of though the unfortunate situation that it created. Uh, has had, you know, as far as the knife community goes, has had positive implications by we've attracted a lot of new members. There's a lot of people in the knife community now that wasn't in the knife community before all of that because out of boredom. I know Mattisfaction has kind of said the same thing, that or made it sound that way that I think, and it's funny I say his name and then he pops up in the chat, that there was some, to some degree, that's how he got involved more into the knife community, was is that he had more free time. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that was in that situation. Now, the part that sucks with having all these new people jump in head first into the knife community is that it's made a lot of knives that you used to be able to buy pretty easy and pretty regular a lot more scarce, because there's a lot more competition to get them. But that's also had an effect on the pricing of the knives. And the, you know, more people in the knife community, the harder they are to get. Y'all might have started in boredom, but y'all stayed because you enjoyed it.
That's right. And then you go to somewhere like Blade and you meet the people that you've only seen online, and you realize that you're not just an antisocial keyboard clicker, that these people are real people and they're just as much fun or entertaining in person. And you have fellowship. You know, I think that was the biggest thing. I'm in AA, so right, I go to AA meetings. And that was something that was really hard early on. I mean, they were all virtual, and I don't need them. I don't go because I feel driven to drink or anything like that. I go because of the fellowship, because I feel like my experience might be able to help somebody else, and listening to their experiences help me stay sober today, right? So we couldn't
Yeah.
do that for a really long time. And it was just, you know, little things like that. And then what I thought about was how many people are isolated anyway and only had certain outlets, you know, that was just tough. Zach, thank you, brother. Let me get another sound here
But
that we can find.
I know the lives, and I know I don't chat a lot in the lives, and I don't, that, you know, that kind of stuff because I just suck at typing. I mean, y'all have seen me over here typing. I'm over here, you know, like some little crazy troll trying to type.
Thank you, Zach.
And so that's why I usually don't talk a lot in the chats. But knowing that everybody, you know, and a lot of times I'm doing other stuff too, you know, but
Hey,
that's,
Joseph.
but being in the live chats and seeing everybody there and seeing the same names and the same folks on a regular basis, I mean, I still feel a part of the community, even though I don't talk a whole lot. I never took typing in school, so it takes me. I mean, I'll watch the chat. I'll try to answer somebody's question, and I'll watch chat go by 50 times before I
Dude,
ever even get 2 or 3 words typed.
I will give a guilty confession that exact show I'm guilty of it a lot. A lot of times on Sunday, I will sit on the couch and be so engaged in what everybody's saying and doing, but I'll watch it on my Apple TV and I type on my iPhone. And I cannot type fast enough, especially in Zach's or even Satisfactions, because there's so many people in there. And I feel like I'm missing saying hello to people because I want to say hello to everybody. And so sometimes I'll just, because of laziness and I'm doing something else on the side, I know I don't have the attention to communicate with everybody in the chat. I'll just listen. But this community, I mean, has done so much for me. And I'll tell you something that I don't know if y'all were aware of, but it absolutely stoked me. And this is not a shameless plug, but it is. I don't know if y'all know Grateful Panic or remember Grateful Panic from the old days, but Grateful Panic was what I used to call him the Pied Piper of the knife community, because I found his live stream by just a chance. And I heard about Grateful Panic because one of the first knife reviewers I found after Metal Complex was Brother Big Red. And so I'd watch his channel. And at the time, he was doing some stuff to help Grateful Panic out, and he was talking about him. So I'm a Grateful Dead head, and I've been to over 200 Widespread Panic shows. So the name kind of resonated with me, right? So when he came back and started doing his Groovesy Night Lives, his live streams, that's where I really became involved in the community. I met Jeremy Spalding, Brother Worm. I met Juggling Ninja, JN Ninja. I met Dark Gravity. I met so many people in those chats that I started seeing over and over. So even though I'd never met any of them in person, I had a familiarity with them. So I found myself looking forward to Tuesday nights for Grateful Panic to do his Groovesy Night Live, because his lives are just totally different. He sits there, he reads the chat, and he talks to people. And I found him more like a therapist. But what was so cool about it is this past Tuesday night was the return of Groovesy's Night Live. So Grateful Panic has started, I think, at 9:15, bringing back Groovesy Night Live, and I think it's going to be a weekly thing. If y'all have not had a chance to check out one of Grateful Panic's live streams, if you weren't there in the old days, that's where I met Shane, Edgy American, which I kind of hold that against Grateful Panic, but I'll let him off. That's where Knives Live was brainchild between Shane and Grateful Panic talking one night after somebody joked that Grateful Panic should go live for a full 24 hours. Guys, he would have 5 and 6 hour live streams. They would have people talking about something that was going on in somebody's family, and everybody talking about, we're here for you, man. I mean, every knife talk, non-knife talk. I remember Marco Polo was going through a really hard time. He was getting a lot of grief in the chat because he was mouthing off to a lot of people because, again, he was battling some demons. So what did Grateful Panic do? He reached out to him and got him on his show. And it was a train wreck show, but it turned out to change Marcos's life. And it changed a lot of people's hearts, I think, in that live stream, watching the true outreach. And as Zach would say, doing something kind for someone with no expectation of return, just doing it because it's the thing to do. And that's what community is all about in my mind. And that's what I think this community is so about. And that's why I think people like Shane and people like me and people like anyone who's been taken advantage by somebody who preys on the community, whether it be Monster Racing or any of the other people who do shady stuff, we look out for each other like family. I mean, at least I look at it that way. And I know I've mentioned him several times tonight, but I just think he's a great fucking guy. But Jared Neves is the same way. I mean, I look at it, if everything went crazy and society collapsed, we would have a group of people that we could network with around the country. I mean, we all kind of have that common bond. Yeah, there are a ton of things that we're different about. We have different religious views, different political views, pull for different football teams. But the bottom line is we're all drawn together for some reason. So that's what I always want us to focus on. And that's my soapbox. I'm going to get off it, and I'm going to see if anybody else has put Happy Birthday Joe in this giveaway tool. We've got 50 entries. We've got 61 people in here. I'm going to give it, we'll give it, say, 10 more seconds. Are y'all, or what do you think, Dark Gravity? You think we're ready to give away the Kaiser Big Lighter?
I hadn't seen anybody new, or at least nobody in the chat come in that's new.
All right, we're going to count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everybody.
But that's, and you know, me and you've talked about it more than I've talked about it on here, because I don't like to be negative about knives.
Copper Light Steve, winner, chicken dinner. That guy is all on fire.
He wins like it's nobody's business.
Well, he deserves it. He's always here. He always. Hold on, Copper Light. Let me, because I don't have my tape to put on the box. So let me get you recorded here.
I've been seeing him in the chat for so long, I don't even know how long he's been around.
He's been around forever. I've always enjoyed what he has to offer.
I was going to say, since he's fossilized poop, I guess he's been around for about 1 million years or so, or a few million years.
All right, Copper Light, I'm going to put the email address. I'm not stopping the stream, but I'm going to put the email address in here for you to reach out to me. You can also reach out to me via DM on Instagram, but I'll just give you this email address again so I can keep up with it. But since I'm not having to keep up with it, and it will go out this week, just shoot me your address at kniveslive2021@gmail.com. Guys, we are less than 30 days away from Blade Show. That just flips me out. And whoever said it earlier, not being ready, I think it was ENG. You don't have to try to get ready. Just get there, and then everything else will flow the way you want it to. Congratulations, Copper Light. I'm glad you won. So we've got that coming up. We've got what stokes me out and makes me think I need to really get on it, even though it's a long ways away. We've got Knives Live coming up this year, which will be our 3rd year of Knives Live. And guys, we're getting so much interest from killer creators. I don't see why we couldn't extend it out and make a weekend out of it. But there are different thoughts on that, so we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Copper Light Steve is the winner of the day.
Back to what we were talking about, I'm more interested in the community than I am the actual knives to, you know, nowadays. I hate to say that, but I mean, there is some stuff out there that I like, but what me and Kyle were talking about earlier is I've bought other stuff, but none of it has replaced that handful of knives, you know, that roughly 5 knives that I carry all the time. I've got, you know, a case with knives, a toolbox with knives.
Droopy Tunes, I definitely will, dude. I totally forgot that when we didn't hook up last weekend. And just to go back and answer Twain Thing's question, it's going to be Knives Live 2023, but the Gmail address, I decided, since I'm the one that has to carry all that stuff on my shoulders, we're going to keep the Gmail at kniveslive2021@gmail.com. So even if it's Knives Live 2026, Knives Live 2027, once you guys go and join Knives Live, you will always have the same email that you can send your receipt to so you can get entered in the giveaway. Or if you want to communicate with us here. We just knew that A, that was our first year to ever do it, so it would kind of immortalize that year. And B, if I tried to get a Gmail every year, I would eventually not be able to get it. It would be a nightmare trying to manage them all. So I took the easy way out, and I know I can always say, and I've even got, I don't think I have one out here, but guys, I got business cards made for Blade Show. How crazy is that? And guess what it doesn't have on it? I think it does have Knives Live 2021 as my Gmail address, because I use it on my YouTube channel. I use it for all my personal stuff too, knife related. But it's just too hard to always change a Gmail address. Oh, Pitt, it was not a ton of work. There's so many people that pull major time, bringing things together, getting people to donate awesome gifts. Lefty EDC does so much in terms of putting all the packages together. He likes to do that. I'm sure there'll come a time with Devo Knives where he won't be able to do that, and that'll really be a punch because he does so much. Shane does so much. Every single content creator that takes the time to do an hour to entertain, several of them that Doug feels comfortable with talking to, that'll have Doug on their show. It's just a lot of fun, and I think I enjoy it for the people just because I could be in live streams 24/7 anyway. But to be able to do something good that we can all kind of benefit from, even if our state's not impacted, right? I don't know if y'all follow Knives Live, Knife Rights on Instagram, but if you don't and you're on Instagram, you should, because every couple of weeks they're putting out a call to action to mobilize phone calls because there's a vote coming up. There's something that could impact, the rights of people like us who carry knives, right? And what Doug has told me and what I've learned from Knives Live and stories he's shared is one of their biggest expenses is travel, because they don't get 3 months notice that there's going to be a bill that comes up in Pennsylvania that you need to be at to make sure that it doesn't pass or that it, gets squashed, right? They know usually 24 to 48 hours where they've got to mobilize. He's got to pack up his stuff. They've got to get a very expensive plane ticket, meet up from different parts of the country to descend on wherever the area is where they're trying to make a difference and make a difference. So it's just, I urge you guys to check it out, whether you participate or not. I'm going to put it right here in the Knife Rights. And if nothing else, sign up for a free email letter. Let's see if that's right. That link work, Tad? Not that you'd know.
I'm trying to make sure you spelled it right.
I don't think I did. I went over here to my...
You put knife rights instead of knife rights.
All right, watch this. Watch me delete it. Oh, I could put myself in timeout. Right. So it's www.kniferights, GHTS, kniferights.org. Sorry, guys. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's not Kniver Rights. But guys, I'm behind a microphone. I've got a laptop that's on this. You can't see it because I don't have my camera attached to it, but when I type, it just shakes because I've got it on this little janky thing.
Copper Light beat you anyway.
Budget Knife, I'm glad you came, buddy. Have a good night, my friend. We'll see you this weekend, hopefully.
I'm going to have to go to bed soon, too.
We're not long out. We've almost gone 3 hours, and I've got to go to Taco Bell and pick up a couple of Mexican pizzas, and then stop by Sunoco and pick up some peanuts, all my late night snacky snack before we get on said faction.
No, I had to leave work early, so I had to go into work early today.
Twang thing, you can get me anytime at
I went to work at 4 o'clock this morning, so.
Dude, I don't see how. I do see how you do it because Twang thing, here's my email, buddy. This week, I travel every week for work. So Tuesday through Thursday, I'm on the road. I cover all of Alabama. So Wednesday morning, I left the house at 5:30 to be in a meeting in Birmingham that started at 7:45. It was actually a seminar thing that we were putting on. So I had to be there. I had to speak. I had to have my game on. And I was so tired driving down there. I was getting the groggies, and I'd have to pull over to get something to drink, like a coffee, and try to wake myself up. But I knew I was on a time schedule, so it was just brutal. But I do that every week. Tuesday, I go over to Gadsden, which is about an hour and 15 minutes, kind of over where Shane lives. Then Wednesday, I'm usually in Birmingham. And then Thursday, I'll either be in Tuscaloosa and Gadsden. Thank you, Tree Stab and Troy. Did y'all see that? Knife Works has 20% off Doug Ritter RSK knives right now. Probably
And
one of the best.
And they got a full stock in yesterday, I think. Or it
And
was
that is a
today.
great American knife. It goes under the radar because it's the only one he makes. But Hogue makes that knife, and I've got 2 full-size RSKs, and I've got a mini. And I'm not saying anything bad about Benchmade, but I think the springs, I think the action, I think the look, the feel of the G10, I just really like that knife. And I would urge anybody to try one out because they're not expensive for what they are.
That's,
And
yeah. I think with RSK, overall, you're getting a better knife at a better price.
Jeffrey Dawson donated 5 memberships. I did not see that. Jeffrey Dawson, thank you, brother. I got to say, I don't even know if y'all can hear my 5 horns, but Jeffrey, thank you so much. Thank all of you guys for anytime you support the channel, anytime you just come and watch the videos, anytime you spend any time on the channel. It humbles me, and I appreciate it more than you know. And I promise I'm not shilling for Lefty, but if anybody's been thinking, is the mash worth it? I can honestly say I'm in love with this knife. It is not walked, because Lefty said he had to, I think his sweat just makes pivots walk. Look at that. You can't see it, can you? Perfectly centered. I flipped it probably 200 times. Great little knife. They are terrific, Jack. Did I say Jack or Zach? Yeah, Knife Nut 69. I agree. I was very pleased. I jokingly said Colin's doing a great job, but I think Lefty has a lot of input too. That's what you get when you get 2 guys that can work together. That one's not just a yes man, that they work back and forth and try to, strategically hone things before they do it. I wish him nothing but the best. Brand new American, it's next level. The G10 on the RSK, I mean, it's grippy enough to where, and I'm not, again, saying anything wrong, but when I hold my mini Griptilian, which I love, which is the spider hole one, the sheep's foot, it's just such a slick G10 compared to my mini RSK.
Well, it's plastic, where the mini RSK is G10.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, my mini Griptilian is G10. It's the gray
is it?
one. It's the gray and blue. The blue liners and the gray, but it's even got a diamond texture, but it's so minimal. I mean, literally, since it's a mini, so to finger flick it, sometimes I feel like it's going to slip out of my hand. Dude, I'm so thankful for this Michael Zeba. Did I tell you about his comment on my post? All right, so I did a lot of posts of just some close-ups of some of the details. And the one right here where it says Till Valhalla, it was just the clip. And he commented, it's a riddle, dude. Let me find it. Because I've got to read it or I'll misquote it. Bear with me. Because you might know what it means.
I doubt it.
I sure didn't, but it made me go,
Because that's one thing.
Oh, I know where I can go. Let me just go to my pictures. Go ahead. What, buddy?
I hadn't talked to Michael Zeba a lot. I mean, I talked to him some in emails back. Well, I guess it's been a couple of years ago now. Before I got the knife, I had talked to him quite a bit in emails then, and then of course, what little bit I talked to him at the knife show. He's very much a deep thinker compared to me.
Oh man. Okay, so this is the picture, which is just the clip, right? I did close-ups of a bunch of them, and his quote was, and I put my thing was the details make the difference. And I got a bunch of quotes, but Michael Ziva said everything is for a reason. Dot dot dot. Everything got meaning when you see deeper than normal eye. Dot dot dot. And then a flame like fire. So you got to listen to the word structure, right? They're not sentences. It's just like everything is for a meaning, or everything is for a reason, dot, dot, dot. Everything got meaning when you see deeper than normal eye, dot, dot, dot. Which made me look at the knife, because every time I look at it, I see something a little different, or something I didn't notice, or I wonder what exactly that is, or what's the thematic significance of that, right? But I just thought that was really cool.
Oh, the handle of that knife you could look at for hours.
It's like a novel. It's like a graphic novel.
And to some degree, I do get it, because every time I would pick that knife up, I would find something new, or I would see it differently. I don't know what it would happen. It was one of the two.
Well, they're little animals. If you look in his head, you'll see different things that are hidden kind of in his makeup.
Yeah, the detail work on that handle is astonishing. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And I was flipping it the other day. I was able to get in that fuller, but I'm afraid that it's going to slip out of my hand. Dude, I absolutely love it. It is in good hands. It'll be ready for you if you ever change your mind.
If you slip with that knife, you're going to regret it.
No, I'm not going to slip with that knife. I did carry it to work the other day. I'm going to carry it because that was one of your conditions.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the whole carrying it, dropping it, none of that. I'm talking about if your finger gets near that edge. It
is slicey.
Yeah. It's got I think Jason is the one who put the edge on those and did a lot of the blade work.
Yeah, I think it is, because I noticed his maker's marks on the blade. So I assume it's a Jason Knight blade, and then Michael just does
He does the art and the handle.
So is he a jeweler? Does he make the jewelry that you see on his page too? Is that Mike?
Yeah, he's primarily a jeweler, I guess is the way you would put it, or a sculptor of jewelry. I don't know what the hell you call people who do what he does, but I would say he's primarily a jeweler.
He did something right.
He does the knives too, though. I mean, I couldn't tell you how long I've been staring at his knives, how many years I've been looking at wanting an S5. I mean, I really couldn't, because the time just, escapes, when you have something in your head for so long. And of course, I showed, or we may have pulled it up on here last week, the picture of the one that I actually want and have wanted ever since I first saw it years ago.
Which one was that?
The one with the flame titanium handle.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, finding one is, I guess, not ever going to happen. But
well, on the secondary it might, but where do you even look? I mean, isn't he that niche?
Yeah,
Look at this. Hold on, I got to share this.
I don't know a whole lot of folks that have a Ziva. I mean, he has very low availability, and he's not what I would call a hype maker. Like, his knives aren't hype knives. His knives are 100% made in the USA. Well, I mean, I guess technically the blade steel is possibly made somewhere else, but then again, it could be made in North Carolina, because I know that there's this. I know they do make some of the M390 in North Carolina, so. But I mean, he's not a hype person. knives are very quiet, I guess you would say. It's just those who know and have one.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people talking about the next drop or this is available. What'd you say it was called?
It's
It
well,
was,
the one I want is just a flamed S5. I
so
don't
it
think you're
wasn't
gonna see it.
S5? But I thought we
Yeah,
found it on here.
no, it was on Arizona Knife Works. We found one that sold some period ago. I don't know one that had, but it anyway. It was one that had sold. We just found a picture of it. Uh,
And what was the word that made us bring up that picture?
we
Flamed?
Googled
Oh, there it is, flamed.
flamed Zeba S5.
That's it right there. Is that it? Oh, I'm not sharing
No,
it. Hold on.
you were sharing it.
That wasn't it
Well,
though.
no, that wasn't it. That's the.
Let me go back because there were a whole bunch more on there, and I think Arizona Custom Knives was.
That's it.
What was the difference?
The handle looks
Oh,
different.
yeah. Well, aren't they all going to be unique?
That one don't look flamed though. I guess it is flamed. It just
Yeah,
looks
they call
different.
it Southern Star. Maybe that's a different pattern. Because I know that stuff's real organic. The only reason I wonder.
But that's the version I want is that one with the worm pattern.
Yeah, that's pretty. And that's flame done, you think?
Yeah, he does it with a torch.
Dude, I mean, I should be able to get that fuller. And I've gotten it like twice, and I don't know what caused me to get it. There's another one. You know it's on NAF sale, but it's not your Skinner blade.
Oh,
They've got yeah, the Battlefield.
Oh, somebody put a Battlefield pickup on there.
I think so.
I
What's
know
this
they were doing.
S1? What's this S1 mini frame lock? Dude, that looks very Chavez-y, doesn't it?
Well, that was one you looked at last week and was talking about you didn't need to look at it because you don't need to buy it.
Well, it's not out of stock forever. But this isn't a Chavez. This is a Ziva.
Yeah.
I looked at this last week.
Yeah.
Dude, what's? I mean, I must have dementia. I must be getting dementia. So is it S1?
You were talking about last week how that is your size of pocket knife too, because it's got a 2.5-inch blade, and the price is a lot better too. I think it's in the threes.
Because I think it's so old. I think these are very old listings.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I hate about a lot of the retailers is they never take off their fucking listings, and they want you to sign up for notifications on it, and it's like the night when you're talking about somebody like Michael Zeba, the knife is never fucking coming back.
Or like if you go to Knives Plus and they're coming soon, they've still got the Dragon or the Spyderco bombshell.
And
Dopey, how are you, brother? Good to see you, man. Knife Nut, I will take the responsibility for that because Kevin got me down the rabbit hole, but I can assure you, I think it's a shallow rabbit hole, and I've absolutely enjoyed every one of my slip joints. And I use them. I carry them in my pocket, and I'll take them out and I'll cut with them. And it makes me want to start buying apples because I want to cut apples with them because it just reminds me of being a kid. Danger Pickle is exactly right. It's exactly right. Well, guys, it has been over 3 hours. We've got to go get Taco Bell before Matisfaction starts. We love Matisfaction. Autumn Wind, I wish you'd been in there to put in for it because you're a loyal winner too. But guys, I appreciate everybody coming out. Dark Gravity, what do you got to say to these lovely humans?
good night, everybody.
Hey, you see what Jeffrey Dawson says? There's an S5 Mini on Arizona. Hold on one second.
If it's the 3.5 is the one I want. He does a 4-inch version. I think it's a 2.9 or 3-inch version. And then he does the 3.5. The one I sold to John is a 3.5 size.
It's
And
a good size.
to me, that's my sweet spot. Literally, I have, I guess, 3 knives, what we would call the pocket knives that we carry, that are below 3 inches.
There's
I mean,
also
below
koi
3.5
fish on
inches.
here, dude. Look at this. I'm glad I'm broke.
Yeah, I've seen the ones with the koi fish. But
Check out this mini.
well, they want $540 for it. That's not as bad as I thought it would be. What's the blade length on it? I can't remember.
It was born on 3/11/19. It is, let's see. Blade length 3 inch, overall length 7 inches, weight 3.3 ounces.
So he does a 3.5, and a 4-inch of the S5.
M390 on this one. And Michael Zeba moved to the United States from Poland in 2005. I did not know that.
Yeah, I knew he was from Poland, or I knew he was from an Eastern Bloc state. I just couldn't
And
remember
look,
where.
this one's $495.
Yep.
What's the difference in the S7? Let's see. It's a 2.875 blade, so it's even smaller.
Yeah, it's a smaller knife. It's got a carbon fiber handle instead of all titanium.
Look at that block side, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got, I mean, if you dive into Michael Zeba, you will find some crazily artistic knives.
Well, it's just like this, the one I've got. When you look at the back spacer, I don't know if this is going to have one. Different skulls. But it says something in here, too.
Oh, yeah, there's always engraving on the inside done in gold leaf.
Yeah.
He's even done models that those skulls are sterling silver.
Wow. Are they brass or bronze? Are they
those
bronze?
in that one I think are brass. But he's done it, and I've seen where he's done versions and there you're talking about, $1,000+ ones. But he's done it where it's got, the skulls and demon heads and things of that nature that he does in the back spacer, will be solid sterling silver.
Wow. I mean, it's next level stuff for sure.
Yeah, on the artistic
side, poker. Look at that.
Yep. Those are tiny though, but they're meant just to stab people.
Yeah, throw 3-inch blade. And you're
gonna
stick it off in there like a hook.
Yep.
Well, guys, there's Edgy American. What's up, Shane? I'm getting ready to go to Taco Bell, brother. It's good to see you, my man. Hope you're doing well, brother.
He just got back from the titty bar.
He's probably not back. He's probably on his phone. I know Shane. He's waiting on his friend. Well, guys, thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. We will be tomorrow night, Lefty Off the Edge, 15,000 member giveaway. Be there, be square. I'm going to be on helping him out, and there's going to be a bunch of good shit given away, and that's Off the Edge. And all I ask is that you please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. I apologize if anybody thinks we were talking about politics. It was not. It was just talk. A bunch of guys sitting around a fire talking, right? So I love you all. Till we meet again. Dark Gravity. Peace, brother.